Hey everybody, this is Kyle, aka Vulcan Wolverine, aka Vulcan Wolverine 2. It is Saturday at about 12:40 p.m. in the afternoon here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It's July 25th, 2020. And I just wanted to go through some information today. I've got a lot of information I've been looking up, and it's kind of getting backlogged. And so I wanted to go through as much as I could today. I'll kind of wait a second, see if some people come in. But I have a lot of stuff that I want to go through. I guess I want to talk about, the targeting that we're going through. But in relation, like I've titled this live stream, Noah was a conspiracy theorist, and then it started to rain, which I think is great. I heard it yesterday. It's something I'm going to tell my dad. I'm going to kind of speak his language, when I'm talking about this stuff. But I feel like it's pretty apropos to, what we're going through as targeted individuals. And then we have all these things kind of being rolled out on the top, right? Rolled out to the whole public. What's going to come with vaccines and the hydrogel the DARPA has come up with that maybe it's probably going to be in the vaccine. We're going to go through some stuff. Welcome to anybody in chat. Just have a lot of information backlogged. Also, let's start it out. I want to introduce you guys. See, there's not a whole lot of people in chat, but let's just go ahead and get started. I think when people come in, they can check this guy's channel out. I want to show you guys this channel first, and he's a targeted individual. He has a lot of great information on neuroweapons, remote neural manipulation, mind control, what's going on in the population. And like me, he called the FBI, and they didn't deny it. Like, they didn't say, oh, well, you need to see a mental health professional or something like that. They just said it wasn't in their jurisdiction. The FBI does not handle doing that. But I want to show you guys this channel, and we'll just go ahead and get started. Because I've got a lot of stuff to go through, so we're going to be hanging out today. Hang out for a couple of hours maybe. I also wanted to show y'all, and I just put a video up of Dr. Carrie. I can't remember her last name. I think it's like Monet. Carrie Monet. I want to go through the end of that too. The end of that where she's talking about remote neural monitoring, remote neural manipulation on a mass scale, right? So we're looking at this very ironic situation. Like, I know we're all dying. Like, I'm being tired. I woke up this morning and just like my head feels like it's been caved in by microwaves, and my spine is just barely hanging on. My spine is barely hanging on. The targeting is really bad. Like, it's really bad to where it's like I can't access some of my thoughts, like the way that my brain works. I woke up this morning and my attackers were doing something very specific with remote neural manipulation. They do a whole lot of stuff, but I remember going, boy, they're doing this one thing when I sleep, and I know it, and I've got to say it on a live stream or a video. 10 seconds later, gone. Could not retrieve what I had just thought of. So like the memory erasure, memory interference. It's not just like what it used to be. It used to be like, oh, I kind of forgot something, and then it would take a couple of minutes, and I go, oh, I got that thought back again. But now, like the remote neural monitoring, remote neural manipulation, it's so bad that it's like, if my attackers want to, they can completely erase something that I thought, and I can't get it back. So I know this stuff is really bad for all of you guys, but let's go through some information. I want to say some things about the ironic nature of how bad the world is getting, and it's probably not going to go back to normal. What does that mean for us? Like, what does that mean for people being targeted so intensely with these directed energy weapons and neuro weapons? It's an ironic situation that we find ourselves in, and we got to move forward no matter what. I mean, that's my thoughts on it. Hey, Paul. Paul says, I pray for all targeted individuals all over the world. Thank you, Paul. I pray for you too, and I pray for all targeted individuals all over the world. Let's kind of start it with a prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, in the name of Jesus Christ, dear Lord, just help all targeted individuals today. Help every human being on the earth, against this darkness that's happening in our world, against all the slings and arrows, all the asymmetrical warfare of the enemy. Just help us to be strong. Give us a path. Just let us know what you want us to do in this time. Let our voices be strong. Let our voices be strong, and just please bring good change. Help us to do your will in these dark times, no matter how things turn out. And please just always give us miracles every second of the day. Please give us some big miracles, especially for all the people that are, suffering, being tortured, being, mind raped 24 hours a day. Please give us solutions, give us miracles. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, in the name of Jesus Christ. Let me show you this guy's channel, guys. And people can kind of just come in and watch. Welcome if you're just coming in to chat. I want to show you guys this channel. He just started this channel, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how long he's been talking about his targeting. It seems like he's been targeted for a while. But let me show you guys this. I have so much information I need to get out. I was just like, okay, well, I'm up right now. Probably won't be able to stay up like tonight, because I woke up real early at like 5 a.m. So I wanted to do a live stream now. If I can find it. Okay, here it is. Hey, Patriot Pep. It says amen. Hey, Jennifer, how are you doing? Jennifer says hi, Kyle, and everyone. Hey, no whining. So guys, check this guy's channel out. And he just started this channel. Another targeted individual showed me this channel, specifically sent me this video. Let me go down to the channel name real quick. The channel name is Plato's Zodiac 1. So I would subscribe to him. He talks about directed energy weapon torture, mind control, remote neural manipulation, remote neural monitoring, artificial intelligence, all of those things, nanotechnology. And I think he's been targeted for a long while. But let's listen to this. He calls the FBI, and they pretty much give him the same thing as I got. Like when I called the FBI, they said this is, what you're talking about is not in the FBI's jurisdiction. And I was telling them, I'm getting remote neural manipulated. I'm getting fired on by directed energy weapons. I'm being cooked by microwaves. My brain is being injured from remote neural manipulation, from electromagnetic pulses. And then the guy that I was talking to goes, that's not in the FBI's jurisdiction. Not. You need to see a mental health professional. You need to go to the hospital because you're insane. He said, that's not in our jurisdiction. And that's kind of like the same answer. Plato's Zodiac 1, and I'll put it in the description. But let's listen to this. And he's a veteran. We know how so many veterans are being tortured and mind controlled too. Probably more veterans, because I think they sign stuff when they're in the Army, and they get injections with God knows what. So probably a lot more of them are targeted.
For taking emergency calls. For emergencies, please call 911. This message will continue in English. If you wish to hear this message in Spanish, please press 1. In a few moments, you will be connected to an operator. This call will be recorded for quality assurance. If this identifying information about yourself and/or the persons about whom you are calling. We use this information to assist in investigating your tip. You do not have to provide your name or other personal information. However, the lack of information may delay or hurt our ability to investigate your tip. Any information you provide may be used for authorized purposes. To report a suspicious email, hacked email, internet scam, or IP theft, press 1. To report a tip about a threat to human life, serious bodily
And this is,
injury,
well, it's past domestic terrorism.
press 2. One moment while I transfer you to the next available representative. Your call will now be recorded.
Thank you for calling the FBI. Please provide your name.
Chase Smith,
Spell your first name for me.
Chase.
S-M-I-T-H.
Yes, ma'am.
Your date of birth, sir.
10/17/1982.
10-17-82. Okay. A phone number with area code first.
832-607-8121.
10-17-82. Okay. 832-607-8121. Is that a cell phone?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And one more thing, sir. I need your zip code.
Hey, United Snakes of America. United Snakes of America says, saw your live stream with Steven. Pray you are doing well. No whining, you did a live stream? I gotta go see that. Okay. No whining says, I was told by the feds that the crimes committed were not committed against the country. Therefore, the crimes did not matter to the feds. Very arrogant, in my opinion. Yeah, it's completely false. You know, if the crimes are committed on innocent American citizens, but the problem is that the crimes are being committed by federal agencies, and by contractors under federal agencies. So it's all covered up, you know. Hey, Greg. Greg says DARPA, HARP, sell Gwyn Towers, military industrial complex, rogue government. Yeah, like a breakaway, like a black budget, black project, deep state, like a black project government that doesn't tell our real government anything, and our government funds it. The real government funds all of it, right? Our real government's corrupt too. Yeah. No whining says, thanks, United. I refuse to give up. Me too, man. Things are out of control. Like, things are out of control, but I refuse to give up. I'm just going to trust in God. And I'll show you guys. Well, I don't know if I'll be able to show you this part of the live stream, but Days of Noah was saying something that I think a lot, that, you know, God put us in this time. We live in this time. We were destined to live in this time. We're going through this, and we've got to make the best of it. We've got to trust in God. We've got to help people. Refuse to give up. And another thing is, I don't know if any of you guys have tried like some really good defenses like Dave Case's CD and stuff like that. It makes such a huge difference. And I don't stop, like, in my mind, I'm like, you know, we'll find other stuff. We will find other forms of, you know, defensive solutions and things like that that can give us a whole lot of relief and help to slow things down, if not really diminish things. You know, and we've got like the UN investigation coming up, so there's hopeful things. You know, the world at large, though, and the vaccines coming down the pike, you know, the pandemic, civil unrest, like destruction of cities and everything, DHS growing in power. I see that, like, there's going to be horrible things for humanity coming up. There's going to be big changes that aren't going to be able to go back to normal. But we still have to live on and live a good life and do the best we can, you know, be as comfortable as we can, even if we're being tortured, try and end that, and join. And this is the ironic, well, I'll get to that later on, because there's a lot of other stuff I want to show guys.
77577.
77577. So what federal crime do you want to report to the FBI today, sir?
Remote neural manipulation and monitoring. 2 years.
2 years, okay. And how are they doing this?
I believe they're using a hidden carrier frequency to
like, I just think that's BS, and I've said that before. Like, we're being hit with directed energy weapons. Our minds are being manipulated. It's being done remotely. Like, everybody, like, that we try and get help from is like, specifically, how are they doing? I don't know. We have an idea, right? I mean, we can talk about the remote neural manipulation, talk about, directed energy, electromagnetic pulses to the vestibular system, bidirectional stream straight to the brain with nanotechnology on neural networks of the brain. Like, we know some of those things, right? We're figuring those things out. But BS that we have to tell the details of how it's being done to us. I'm being fired on by directed energy weapons. My brain's being messed up by electromagnetic frequencies. I wasn't told about this stuff. How about you just stop it? How about you just stop it? It's like, oh, can you tell us the scientific details of exactly how the attackers are doing this new thing that I don't even know about, right? Like the lady at the FBI knows nothing about this. And she's like, exactly how are they doing this? It's like BS.
There's nanotechnology inside of all of us, and especially I'm a veteran, and especially veterans, nanotechnology inside of all of us. I was part of a program inside of the military, so I'm cognizant of how this operates. I'm not sure if this has something to do with Operation Vigilant Eagle or not, but it
I've never heard of Vigilant Eagle.
Veterans, and considering the very high suicide rate of veterans, which is basically 30,000 a year, I believe what is going on is somebody is hacking our standard nanotechnology that the country uses, and they're using a hidden carrier frequency that they're purchasing on the black market. And what they'll do is basically manipulate veterans into committing suicide, and also committing heinous crimes like, mass shootings and things like that. And it's driven by artificial intelligence or an exascale computer. It's very elaborate. It's capable of creating a collective or a mind hive society. And
okay, sir.
Yes.
We'll submit your information into our database. I do want to thank you for your service, but I do have to tell you that this tip line is reserved for official FBI business related to criminal activity within the federal jurisdiction or threats to national security. A review of your call.
It's a threat to national security. Innocent American civilians, veterans, just regular people being tortured to death, being pulsed in their brain to affect their nervous system and their thoughts. That's, a threat to national security. It's actually genocide. It's actually genocide and torture of innocent American citizens. The FBI should be, dealing with it except they're involved in it also with InfraGard. They're involved in harassing the crap out of the citizens while they're being experimented on and tortured. So of course they can't help us.
If you continue to call this tip line for non-FBI related,
it's the worst crime ever. Like, nothing else trumps it. Hey, Turtle Tribal Nation.
Hey, FBI. You seeing how this is about to backfire on you? Are you seeing that? I mean, you've got to be seeing how you're about to get fucked here, okay? Are you are you seeing what's going on here? I mean, come on. That was the very line I needed to call. All of that was recorded. This is a threat to society. Mm-hmm. It is a massive threat to society. Everybody's asleep. It is torturing veterans. And basically the FBI just
torturing
told me to fuck off. And I recorded that. And man, is that going to really come back? Could you imagine?
And the FBI has so many targeted individuals have called into the FBI and reported this. The FBI in America, and then in other countries, whatever your version of like the FBI and stuff like that, they have it on record, thousands and thousands of people calling in to report being murdered, and they have done nothing about it. Not for much longer.
If I ever, once this comes out, and I have all of this correspondence with the FBI and all these recorded conversations, and just an abundance of emails that I've sent to your epidemiologist, are you seeing how that's going to pan out for you now? It's not going to look good, okay? Either you're complicit or you are the perpetrator. I mean, either you're the perpetrator or you're not doing your job, is what I meant to say. So,
I think they're involved on some
y'all
level.
need to start doing something.
All right, guys. So I wanted to show you all that. That's Plato's Zodiac. So wait, let me go back to it, so you guys can subscribe to his channel. He has a lot of other great videos. He's putting out a lot of information. Plato's Zodiac. Let's look at the comments. Amateurasu Solar again. Yeah, they are tweaking us in many ways and then pretend everything is good. Lisa Lake says the FBI is only there to protect the criminal government. Reply 2 says, wow, that's messed up on many levels. Hope guys all right. Very interesting video. Great job. Recovering Soul says, it's really hard to prove this stuff. Yesterday I made an outgoing call and it showed on my phone, but a few hours later it was missing. I did not delete that outgoing call. I even checked that contact, and it should have shown my recent calls to them and nothing was there. Who could do that? How? Or is it because my phone is really low on memory? It was a new number for me, and I put it into my contacts, and that is still there. I mean, they can wipe out anything on your phone, hack your computer and your phone. So I wanted to show you guys that guy's channel. Another TI sent me that. I thought it's really good. I think so many people are speaking out. Where we're headed in the world with the vaccine and everything is very, very dangerous. But it's kind of like this for us. We've been going through this kind of isolated, nobody knowing about it, but now the battle is joined because all of this targeting stuff and the technology is being used on the public at large, right? So we're not going to be alone for long, you know. It's an ironic, awful situation where what's happening to the world is very scary, and I don't know where it's going to go, but it changes things for us. It changes things for us, and that what we're going through is not going to seem that crazy because it's going to be going on to everybody. So I want to go over and I can't remember her name now. The lady who I put a video out before this one because I didn't want to go through her whole video, but she talks about remote neural monitoring, remote neural manipulation, because the vaccines are going to have things that can change our DNA, right? They're going to be RNA vaccines that can change our DNA, but there's also going to be hydrogel and other things that can go up to our brain and latch onto our neural networks so that people can then, their brains can be connected to the Internet of Things, right? We've been talking about how, the top of the pyramid and organizations down are trying to create a neural society, right? So that's happening. So it's ironic how everything that we're going through, all the things that they're bringing out into the world have everything to do with us. And we can kind of tell people what's to come, how bad it is, how they've been beta testing and experimenting all this technology on us for so long, right? Now they're bringing it out, the biosurveillance and being able to surveil people's brains, being able to affect people with electromagnetic frequencies, and even being able to, Richie from Boston talks about this, injecting the vaccine, or it's going to be something that you drink, and then being able to activate that vaccine in certain ways with electromagnetic frequencies or electrostimulation to the skin, right? And then the little tattoos, right? The little tattoos that they put on, and it can be a form of vaccine. And it can also contain that hydrogel, right? The little tattoos with the teeth that go in the skin, and then that goes throughout your body. And think about it, targeted individuals. Think about how we get stuff put in our environments, like that white dusty stuff, or things that stick to our skin. I remember I had so many things like that smelled bad that were put near my house that burned down, and some things here. But there's like toxins that will get on your skin, right? So now they're coming out with those things and presenting them to the public as like little tattoos that have this hydrogel on them, things that DARPA has been working on for a long time and using on us, to practice with them, and do all these things to our brain and our nervous system. Honey Ann says, I fear I'm getting type 2 diabetes. You think from the targeting? I think I may be getting diabetes from drinking so many cold drinks. Jennifer says, this tech can make you crave anything, Honey Ann. Yeah. My attackers will make me like addicted and obsessed with like a certain type of food. Like it's happened with broccoli and cheese soup and some other things. And I think they're practicing with the remote neural manipulation because that's a very primal thing, like something that you like to eat. And so they're re-injecting that, and they're practicing with the remote neural manipulation so they can do it to higher brain functions. So they can try and control higher brain functions. And hey, Charles says, hi, everyone. How are you doing, brother? I'm doing so bad. I'm really tired, but I'm trying to stay upbeat and just keep going. Things really suck right now. Things really suck with the riots everywhere. People getting locked down. The vaccines on the way. Turtle Tribal Nation says you need omegas to stop sugar cravings. Having trouble talking today. Switch to honey. So don't do sugar, do honey. I'll tell y'all something that's kind of making me feel a little bit better. It's kind of making me kind of come to myself a little bit more. I'm still experiencing extreme remote neural manipulation, nervous system pain. The grounding kind of keeps the external torture down a little bit, but I've been taking, I've told you guys this, the spirulina and chlorella. I took the chlorella. The first time I took it, it made me like, I had to stay in bed for like 2 days because my stomach hurt so bad. But I took it this time, the chlorella, and it was fine. So spirulina and chlorella. The spirulina, it feels like it's cleansing my brain. It feels like it's cleansing toxins, and I'm kind of feeling a lot more like myself. So it's been really, really good. We got to do the biohacks. We got to biohack ourselves, use the defenses. Oh, the sugar, Honey Ann. Yeah, man, I drink so many. I drunk a energy drink today. I eat and drink so much sugar and sodium. Mischievous Sim says, be careful of what you eat and research the ingredients when you can. Doing that will help you lower the effects of the attacks by a lot. Yeah, not overloading on sugar or sodium. Yeah, gang stalking simulation says spirulina and chlorella, really good herbs. Very, very good herbs. This makes me feel like more like not, the intense mind cloudiness, mind clouding, interfering with the brain where you don't even feel like yourself. And it's like you can't even access your own thoughts sometimes. Like I'll be talking to somebody sometimes and it's just like my brain just completely blanked out. But I've been taking spirulina and it's kind of like, oh, okay, I can kind of think again. Helps a little bit, still being targeted. Hey, Rose says, get sparkling water or carbonated water. It tastes just like soda with no sugar. And then you can also get like some flavored vitamin water, which I need to get. I have been drinking some tea. It does have sugar in it, but not as much as like cold drinks or energy drinks. Actually, this one does have a lot of sugar in it, but it's better. It's better than cold drinks. Okay, let's watch that. Let me see who her name is. I don't want to keep saying that lady. Dr. Carrie Madej. Dr. Carrie Madej. And it's really important because she talks about the vaccine actually, it's going to be an RNA vaccine. So it's going to be able to change DNA, but then she also talks about things in hydrogel and the vaccine that can be activated by activated by frequencies, and also just having it in your system can create can attach to neural networks, right? And I see it like we already have this. They've already put stuff in chemtrails, food and water. Like, I think as targeted individuals, we all have nanotechnology in us, right? It's a certain layer of having this nanotechnology, this catalyst that then they can target us with. They can intensify, because you don't need that in your system to be targeted. But I think that the vaccine is going to be this way to change DNA, and it's going to make sure that everybody has a good amount of nanotechnology in them to affect them with like 5G and frequency weapons grid. It's crazy. Everything's crazy nowadays, right? We've been living in it for a long time before the pandemic, but it's like we have a better chance as targeted individuals of getting out of the intense torture, but all of this being introduced to the public, right? But as they introduce to the public in vaccine form, and people can interact with the Internet of Things, just with their brain and things like that, they'll have no more need for the intensive directed energy weapon torture and remote neural manipulation torture. You see, this will change everything, the way things are happening. Hard to see it in a good way, right? This is like our world changing in horrifying, monstrous, inhumane ways, but it's going to change everything for targeted individuals. The rub is to introduce all of these things to the public. They're going to have to tell them about some of them, right? Because the public, if everybody is experiencing these things like remote neural monitoring, remote neural manipulation, and all this stuff, the public will have to know something about it, which means it changes our situation completely, you know. And I thought the title, you know, Noah was a conspiracy theorist, and then it began to rain. I think it's apropos, you know, to our situation, because people haven't believed us, you know, said we've been mentally ill. But now everyone who's looking into vaccines, who's a truther, is saying like, oh my God, this is going to affect our brain. It's going to allow frequencies to affect the brain and everything like that. More and more people are understanding how frequencies can affect the body, how biometrics can be read and everything like that. So it's going to change the terrain completely. What's going to happen, I don't know. But we've got to be ready for it. And we've got to, I think one thing that I'm like, man, I've got to do this is like, I'm a targeted individual. I'm experiencing all this stuff. We've got to bridge the gap and let people know what's coming to the public, right? What's here, what's coming, but like what's here. And it's like, it's ramping up. It's ramping up in a bad way. Hey, Generation says, hi, Kyle. Google search Nano Mafia from the MedCrave website. Nano Mafia. Okay. Yeah, Paul said, get out and exercise. Yeah, I need to do that more. Yeah, I do that. I do that too, Honey Ann. I mix Monster energy drink with Mountain Dew. I think Monster energy drinks are probably the worst energy drink that you can drink. I think NOS is not that bad. I think Red Bull and Monster are like really bad. I think they may even contain like nanoparticulates that are really bad for us. I can't prove that, but I just think so. But the vending machine out there has Monster energy drinks. And so when I'm too lazy, when I don't want to have to wear the stupid mask, I have to wear this every time I go. I have to wear it every time I go out of my condo. and I do this. I just put it like here, just so I won't get a $50 fine. It's so ridiculous. And a lot of people are talking about, I agree with this, the mask thing, which they're mandating, right? It's a precursor to how can we get people to take this vaccine. There's many things that have to do with the mask, but it's also like they're seeing how many people are going to refuse the vaccine, how many people are going to go along with it, how many people are going to go along with it when it's mandated. It's this precursor to forcing the vaccine on everyone. United Snakes of America says, you all sharing either by having a channel or your support in the live streams has been so helpful and helped to bring some peace to us. Thank you, those who are supportive. It helps. Yeah, it really does. It just gives, like, we can all get together, talk about this crazy stuff, talk about what's going on with this, and we can also push it forward out to more people. And I think the thing is, it's like a lot of bad stuff is happening in society. It's going to roll out. It's going to happen. But I feel like if we talk about it more and we get things out to people and people realize things, like the public at large, it can quicken certain things that the top of the pyramid has to do, and it can change things. It can still change things, right? And especially with miracles from God, we don't know how this is going to turn out, so we've just got to fight our hardest no matter what. Wheatgrass and beet powder gang stalking simulation. I got to get way more healthy. I've got to start getting the toxins out by working out and running, but I'm just so tired. It's like when you're so tired, you can't do the things that would make you less tired. Like some targeted individuals I talk to, I'm like, they have to like wash their defenses and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, you need to do that because you're like, you say you're dying from the targeting, but they're like, I'm dying from the targeting and I can't even wash the defenses to put, so tired to do the things that you need to do to feel better. And you get trapped in this cycle, I do that with a lot of stuff. Yeah, I'm very, like, I can walk around and stuff. Honey Ann says, I'm disabled. It's hard to exercise for me. I do go to flea markets, etc. on the weekend. At least you're getting out and walking around and stuff like that. I just like sit in my chair. I'll go walk Pepper, and then I'll go to like the convenience store and the supermarket. But it's just my spine, like my spine and my nervous system are so burnt out that I can't get like, hey, I'm up, I want to go do something. I have a lot of energy and I have motivation. It's just like so many years of my nervous system being cooked and crippled, and actually, the remote neural manipulation pulsing signals to my brain, which then they use to pulse pain signals to my whole nervous system. It's just burnt me out, where I'm just like, I have no adrenaline left. My endocrine system doesn't work. And I really have to like force myself to do good things. Like I have to force myself into a good cycle, a high frequency, getting the toxins out, getting up. I'm so like, hey guys, so low energy, just so low energy. And I can't find a way to get it up now. Hey, shut up, guys. I can't find a way to get my energy up. It's that cycle we get caught in, but we got to force ourselves to get on, good vitamins, spirulina, chlorella, potassium iodide, some things y'all are talking about, like the wheatgrass and the beet powder. Turtle Tribal Nation has a lot of good suggestions too, like tons of really good suggestions that I need to get started on. Somebody was taking like a mushroom. No, Turtle Tribal Nation was talking about it, some type of mushroom, but I can't remember what kind. But we got to force ourselves into getting into those positive cycles. This stuff just puts you out of commission. Truth Believer 78 says vitamin B12 is good. It helps burn up carbs and calories. I have a B12 vitamin. I have like a B complex vitamin, but it's really strong. It kind of makes me nauseous if I don't take it with food. Okay, let's watch this, guys. Let's watch this. And I already forgot her name. The remote neural manipulations. Yeah, that's it. Turtle Tribal Nation says lion's mane mushroom. I'm going to try that because it's supposed to help your stomach. And I have Crohn's disease. Like I've had Crohn's disease since I was a little kid. And like when my stomach's hurting, it has this. When you're born, like when you're a fetus, the cells from your brain are the same clump of cells as your stomach. Like, and when you're growing as a fetus, your brain, like that clump of cells, the brain and then the stomach are like from the same clump of cells. So when your stomach's doing really bad, you get depressed, you get anxious and stuff like that. Turtle Tribal Nation says Bacopa ashwagandha 2 got to balance your thyroid. The Bacopa works to heal the thyroid. Yeah, I really need that. I really need that because I think that my adrenaline, like my thyroid, I think other stuff in the brain too that's part of the endocrine system has just been completely, like, I think they're actually not just damaging it with microwaves, but they're specifically doing something to the brain with remote neural manipulation to cease function of the thyroid, to play around with its function. Like that's how in-depth this stuff. Okay, so Turtle Tribal Nation says, Kyle, there's turkey tail too. Hey, Tansy. Tansy says, hello, Kyle. Hello, beautiful people. Hello, beautiful Tansy. Hope you guys are making it through. Let's watch this. It's really good information, and it's kind of hopeful. This is really hopeful, guys, how, you know, people who are looking into the vaccines. So it's Dr. Carrie Madej. Dr. Carrie Madej. How many of you guys had seen this before I put the video up? Did all you guys pretty much see this? I wasn't sure how many people had already seen her talking, but it's very important. I don't think she's a targeted individual, but she's talking about the connection of vaccines to, you know, for them putting substances, putting nanotechnology in the brain that can then be read and written to, right? The brain can be read and written to, and it intensifies that connection with frequencies and the Internet of Things. I think that's where they're going, guys. I think as targeted individuals, sometimes we think like, oh man, they're torturing us, they're killing us, and then everybody else is just going to kind of go along living a normal life. But I think things are getting so freaking weird in society. The top of the pyramid, they're going with hooking everybody's brain and nervous system up to an Internet of Things. I mean, that's where we're going. So it's like kind of like the faster we get there, the faster our situation will be changed. At least the intense, like the intense torture can be changed. You know. Hey, Stacy. Stacy says hello, everyone. United States of America says they control everything down to going to the bathroom, sleeping, eating. It's insane. Anyone would seek to harm anyone in this fashion. It's so sick and heartbreaking. Yeah. Everything is so bizarre and dangerous and evil in the world now. And it's hard to feel a sense of safety. I mean, especially for targeted individuals. But now I think the whole world is going through this, like, not feeling safe in the world, not feeling like, oh, I can trust the world. I can trust people. I can, you know, it's supposed to be like that. We're supposed to be fearful. We're supposed to be unhealthy. We're supposed to be weakened. It's terrifying. But with us, with target individuals, it's kind of like I said, they do this competition, right? So America is experimenting on its citizens and torturing them with all these different contractors and organizations. And then Russia's doing it, and then China's doing it. And they can get these people to do it, saying, well, Russia's advancing these weapons, China's advancing these weapons. We have to experiment on our own citizens. We've got to do the training, research, and development. But then higher up, in the global governance, they're using a cooperation, right? All these countries are like, oh, we got to do this because we're, you know, competition with each other. But the global governance is using it to, you know, to get data all over the world and to bring this out to the public, you know, hook everybody's heads and nervous systems up. So it's Dr. Carrie Madej. And I was really surprised. We're gonna listen to a bunch of this, just, you know, kind of the last half of it. And I was very surprised to hear her talking about reading and writing to the brain. She's a doctor. She's a doctor, and she's been studying vaccines for 20 years.
the two together can have a synergistic effect and have 100 times more detrimental side effects than just what you would imagine, right? So we don't know this. There haven't been any studies done. So in 2011, the German company CureVac was given $33 million for their research and development of RNA vaccines. Then in 2013, Moderna Therapeutics was given $25 million for their research and development of RNA vaccines. Then in 2015, Inovio was given $45 million for their DNA vaccines.
See,
which they also
nanoparticle-based vaccines against respiratory viruses. So we don't know what they're putting in these vaccines, and then you got DARPA talking about a hydrogel that goes straight to the brain, that goes straight to the neural networks on the brain, right? So it's like layers of this stuff. Like people already have nanotechnology in their system that they've eaten or drank, or that they've breathed in from chemtrails, but they want to make sure by this vaccine thing, everybody takes the vaccine, everybody's covered. Everybody's got the nanotechnology in their system.
mentioned admitting to using DNA nanotechnology. Nanotechnology is using microscopic, very tiny little robotic organisms, okay? All of these companies are backed by the Gates Foundation or have been associated with the Gates Foundation in some way. It's important to note that so far, these companies have been unable to get these products licensed for human use due to the fact that these vaccines have failed to provide sufficient immunity in human trials.
And they're going to skip animal testing. So for these RNA-based vaccines, they're not even going to test them on animals before they start using them on humans. It's insane. Like, it's insane. Much like everything that's going on in society right now.
Again,
so it's not that surprising
that you have a certain amount of antibodies. This, again, is not showing that the person is completely immune out in the public to whatever virus or bacteria they're trying to protect you from. It's only looking in vitro in a test tube how many antibodies. This is not good science yet to prove the efficacy of these vaccines, even if they could get this. In 2010, DARPA, which is the Pentagon's Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, military agency, started focusing on DNA and RNA vaccines. And they had a synthetic DNA vaccine that could be delivered via non-invasive electroporation, which is using kind of a sticker with microneedles in it on your skin. You can barely feel it go in there. And in their words, in quotations, it is to enhance and subvert, end of quotations, humans at a genetic level.
So guys, think about like what's put into our environments. What has been put into our environments for years and years. They put stuff on things that I would touch in my house that were like sticky and kind of like dark, like a dark film. You know, we got this Morgellons type substance in chemtrails in our food and our water. Also the that white powdery thing that will sometimes be in our environments. These are all like these are all forms of things that can go through our skin and into our body, and then make directed energy, make certain frequencies more effective, and make frequencies affect the body in different ways. And Dr. Hoffer said, that was one of the key points that I took out of our visit is, and I can't remember what he called it. I cannot recall the word that he called it, but he was like, yes, certain substances are very important in this, and they'll give different people that they're targeting, they'll you know, put different toxins in their environment that their skin will absorb, or toxins they will ingest, and so that directed energy will do different things to them, will have a different effect on the brain and the body.
This is around the same year Bill Gates heavily started to fund the DNA RNA vaccines with the companies mentioned before. In 2012, DARPA acknowledges a brain-machine interface. That is, AI, artificial intelligence, and the human brain will form a neural network and therefore have the ability to communicate by thought alone or be being influenced or controlled remotely. Okay, so this is the idea. You go into maybe your smart home, think about turning on the air conditioner, the fan, as your favorite program, have the stove, start cooking something.
Or you just think about turning your computer on, or you just think about moving the cursor on your computer, things like this. Or you navigate your phone just with your brain, like your brain's connected to your phone through nanotechnology and frequency. And then I wanted to add in on this too, like, because she's talking about all this stuff and she keeps saying, like, I know this stuff sounds so fantastical, but we as targeted individuals, we are experiencing this. We are experiencing a brain-computer interface. We are experiencing having certain substances, implants in our body, and our brain, but you don't even need those things because your brain has natural magnetite. It can react with electromagnetic frequencies, like our brain can just naturally do that. But these, the nanotechnology, nanoparticulates, and things like that, and implants, they intensify those signals, or they intensify how the signals interact with the body. So I wanted to put that in there, that many people, millions and millions around the world, are experiencing intense brain-to-computer interfaces, and sometimes brain-to-computer-to-brain interfaces, because our hive mind teams are pushing their brain waves through the computer, which matches them to our brain waves, and then it sends a signal to our head, to our brain to read, to our brain to read that signal. But I wanted to show you guys this and say, more of the truth community is finding out about this stuff, and with vaccines and biometrics and everything they're bringing out, all of the public is going to be targeted. But there's no way that they can do this. There's no way that the top of the pyramid can do it on such a large scale and keep it hidden and keep this program with intense torture going the same way, right? Which may be why we're seeing the the UN talking about it, the UN investigation. I kind of think that nothing happens that's just completely random. And we may be seeing the UN investigation because it's kind of a planned reveal, right? Got to reveal that this is happening, get people kind of used to it. How they're going to do it, I don't know, right? And is everybody on the take? That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I think it's kind of like a pushed along thing so that this stuff all comes out to the public knowledge. Now, what does that mean for us, right? It's either, and I don't think this is going to happen, so I want to say that I do not think this is going to happen. But it's either they get rid of us all, like they kill us all, so we can't talk and we can't talk about it. They're not going to be able to do that. They're not going to be able to just off millions and millions of targeted individuals around the world. I think it means a change. It means a change to our intense targeting. So it's a hopeful thing. It's a hopeful thing for us as targeted individuals. It's a scary thing for the world. But at least with these things, we'll be fighting with a larger group, right? The battle will be joined by billions of people around the world knowing about remote neural manipulation, knowing about frequencies interacting with the brain and the nervous system, right? So it's like an ironic, it's not really a happy time, but things will change for us, and I'm seeing it. Like I'm seeing this in everything that's going on. So I want to tell you guys that what I'm seeing, because I know that a lot of you, and me too, honestly, I can get into a space where it's like, okay, it's bearable for now. I don't really feel like myself. I don't have my thought. My brain is completely remote neural manipulated all the time. But I hear from a lot of you guys, like, I cannot take this torture anymore. I want to tell you guys what I'm seeing, because, we've got to wait a little bit longer. Things can change completely for us. And use the defenses and stuff so you can buy time, buy some comfort, right? Hey, SHP. Yeah, thank you for your videos, SHP. I'm working on a lot of the stuff that you're doing. Yeah, SHP says, awesome title. Noah was a conspiracy theorist. Canada is making conspiracy theorists a criminal offense rewarded by military surveillance. Yeah, and a lot of targeted individuals have talked about, like, looking into 9/11. I know that when my targeting got really bad, I was looking into UFOs, 9/11, other conspiracy theories, and I was kind of putting things together, and then it got really bad. And I think they use it as an excuse. They're like, they want to kind of distract anybody looking into greater corruption, right? They want those people distracted, and so target them, target me, and then we're distracted. Then we got to deal with this, right? Think about all the things that we haven't been able to like look into, explore. You know, and I want to do that too. Like when I talk about targeting and everything, I want to talk about other stuff to not stay in this narrow just targeting, because targeting has to do with a lot of other stuff. But it distracts you from like exploring the greater world of think about it. Think if you weren't targeted, what would you be doing now? What would you be talking about now that's going on in society? You'd probably be very conversing with your community and able to prepare better, able to talk to people about the corrupt things going on in society without your brain just being erased or interfered with. And I think that was one of the angles of the plan, was to get people who would have been very, very outspoken about the things coming into society and distract them. Not just distract them, torture them, murder them, so they had to deal with that and couldn't really deal with everything else, Hey, Andrew says, we are all targeted, certainly electrically recorded and profiled. Yeah. I wish that we had better numbers of I know soon everybody's brain is going to be hooked up to these computers, to these quantum computers, but I think now that we're dealing with, I don't think we're dealing with the whole population of the world being hooked up early, but soon it's going to be that, I think it's a good percentage. I really do think it's something like 50-60%. Vic says, Frank Allen from Targeted Massachusetts seems to think they screwed with powerful people to fight back. Does anyone know anything about this? I don't. That makes sense. I mean, if Niels Melzer's coming out, I think more of, and I'm not saying Niels Melzer's like on the take working for the NWO, but I think that these things happen and they're pushed along by the pyramid. The pyramid says, okay, people are figuring this out, and the public's starting to figure this stuff out anyway. So we've got to go ahead and reveal it, but we got to reveal it the way that we want to, so then we can get, all the public introduced and hooked up to this technology. So I think it's kind of a controlled thing. But I think that if you're a free person and you're not on the take, you've got to get in front of those controlled things and put in the rest of the truth, so it can quicken more truth getting out to the public. It can push things along, right? Maybe it's just a completely natural reveal. I hope it is. I've just become very jaded. I've become very jaded and paranoid because of the targeting and being affected by gang stalkers and whatnot. Hey, Craig says, I'm a truther. I guess we're all truthers. We're all just people looking for the truth. And most of us are people looking for the truth and being, tortured, mind controlled. Yeah, Craig says conspiracy theorist is a word to discredit someone. Yeah, conspiracy theorist actually comes from the CIA. The CIA actually made the term conspiracy theorist. Yes, yeah. So let's listen to her finish up on this. This is a good thing. I mean, she's a doctor, like Dr. Carrie Madej. She's a doctor. I don't think she's targeted. She doesn't know much about targeted. I don't think she knows a lot about targeted individuals. But all of this is just naturally tied in with vaccines. I mean, coincidence, right? They want the whole world to have this vaccine, and the vaccine is going to be able to be activated by electromagnetic frequencies. And you got the 5G grids going up, right? I mean, we're coming up upon a neuro society, a robotic society, where they're going to try and roboticize human beings. It's terrifying. It's too big, right? We need God's help to know what to do. Is little people on this earth trying to do our best. But I think that we have to look at it as targeted individuals and say, what does that mean for us? What does that mean for the intensive 24 hours a day rape of the mind, the psychic driving with the V2K? Is it just going to keep on going like that? Because then we tell people, hey, you know, I'm getting remote neural manipulated, something that they may be experiencing on a consumer level or a medical level, or at some, you know, at some level, because they've taken the vaccine, they'll be able to understand it. So it can't remain hidden exactly in the same form. And we're pushing in so many other ways too. But it kind of gives me a little bit of hope. Hey, Laura says, things are changing, Kyle. 20 years ago, we could not find each other. 10 years ago, there were just a few of us. Now we're protesting and we have non-TI advocates. Yeah, protests, a bunch of people getting information out on Facebook, Twitter, just online in general on YouTube, and the UN is specifically talking about us. You know, I'm gonna, you know, if you guys go into, I'll show you guys some things from Twitter. You go into Twitter, put in like targeted individuals UN, and you see a lot of people talking about how the UN's talking about targeted individuals. I'm kind of like looking for new information and more hitting the mark information. I'm starting to kind of go on Twitter more. You can find a lot of great stuff on Twitter. I guess a lot of you guys, maybe y'all are already on Twitter. I tried to stay away. I tried to stay away from Twitter because I want, like, okay, if I'm going to do YouTube, I'm going to do one thing on social media. And I don't want to do Facebook. I don't want to do Twitter. I'll post my videos, but I don't want to get too much into social media. But it's like, even if you're on one thing, it's too much. Tansy says, conspiracy theories are turning to conspiracy fact these days. Only those without eyes to see are being left behind. Or those that are pretending to be asleep. Yeah. There's no real reason to pretend to be asleep or to ignore it, because everybody's living the conspiracy theory right now. Everybody's living the conspiracy theory with the CV thing.
And it happens because it's Wi-Fi. That sounds cool, right? But think about that. If it's going one way, it's coming back another way. What if the smart home can give you messages too? This all ties in together, so bear with me. So another DARPA program around that time is Next Gen Non-Surgical Nanotechnology N3 program. And it involves non-invasive or minimally invasive brain-computer interfaces to read and write directly onto your brain. Do you understand what this means? I'm laughing because it's blowing my mind away still, even though I've known about this for a while. Read and write directly. They are rewriting what's happening in your brain.
And like, it's literally blowing my brain. It's like literally blowing my brain out, because my brain is being read and write to, and it, you know, I can back her up with what she's saying. It's the remote neural manipulation is rewiring my brain so that, like, I'll think something and then boom, I can't remember it. Like, again, there was something very important I needed to tell y'all right when I woke up. I said, mark it down, didn't write it down or anything, gone. And like, I mean, you know, it changes the way you feel. It changes the way that you emotionally feel about everything. So it's, you know, I think some people may hear like reading and writing to the brain or something like that, and they think it's just going to be like, oh, they keep their same emotions, and it's kind of just like a information, right? Information sent to the brain, and information goes to the brain, but it doesn't really change you, right? But meddling with the brain, changing the wiring of the brain, it changes like how you feel about everything, like your emotions, your being comfortable, right? Having a sense of well-being and everything like that. It's a very bad thing for human beings. You know, and I don't know how this is gonna come out to the public when they do start doing this stuff on a mass scale. They're already doing it on a mass scale, but y'all know what I mean, like everybody. That's why I think the intense, torturous brain rewiring is going to have to go away. It's going to have to change, you know, for the whole public to be introduced to this stuff. Meerkat says, I don't think the UN has the capacity to impose its will on the U.S. to end targeting. But hopefully, Meerkat, like, I understand what you're saying, but hopefully they'll get, they will put councils in every country to do that, right? There will be things formed in every country that are attached to the UN that will then start doing the investigative work. Hopefully it will cascade, you know. Yeah, I'm you know, trying to look at that and all the information that I can find, but I think we're just going to have to, you know, we're going to have to wait till October, see exactly what they say, and then look to how it's being rolled out, right? So I don't know how that's going to look. Yeah, United Snakes of America says the UN is part of it. Yeah, it all goes in hand with depopulation and Agenda 2030. The UN has both hands in this. Yeah, that's what I think of. I'm thinking left hand, right hand. The UN's doing Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030, which is depopulation and everything like that. But then there could be people in the UN who have no idea where this is all going, and they're just like, okay, my job is to end torture worldwide, and I've got to introduce this into the UN. So it's like the left hand is kind of fighting with the right hand, because the whole organization can't be controlled. You know, usually I think that the top of the pyramid controls things by levers within the system. So everybody's not in on the plan, but by peer pressure and all these different things, people just they go along with the big agenda. But then, you know, something this big, you could have people in the UN that aren't connected to this conspiracy, right? The Agenda 2030 conspiracy, depopulation, genocide, taking people's rights, making this a medical technocracy, making the world a medical technocracy to achieve these ends. You could have some people that don't know these the ends that this stuff is going to, and they're just like, well, I gotta talk about this torture, and then maybe they can't stop it. Maybe they're just like, okay, well, this is starting to happen, and they're going to try and control the outcome of this coming out to the public, right? I guess and you know, for us who've been waiting so long, who've been like, we just want this torture stopped, it's exciting to see what's going to happen. I think we should be hopeful. I think we should be hopeful about it. You know, because, oh, I was thinking of this too. I think a lot of us sometimes, and I do this sometimes, I'm like, okay, we're waiting on the UN investigation. Yeah, maybe nothing's going to happen, you know, but we got to take this hope and interact with it. All right, the UN's going to be investigating. The UN's going to be talking about it. We as target individuals have to jump in there, use anything good that comes out of it, and push it to actually make things happen, right? Because I think we all kind of are just like, oh, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. We've got to be more interactive with those things that are happening. Don't sit back and say, the UN's not going to do it. Jump on this topic, get it out to people. You know, let's use whatever the UN's doing, and then it can make it work, right? You know, it can make it work if a bunch of people jump on it and use it, interact with that hope. Yeah, Tansy says, same here, Kyle, and it's getting worse. Everything is... I'm going to show you guys a good interview, and it's kind of what I think about what's coming up. It's kind of how I'm looking at the big issues, and it's really depressing because it's like things aren't going back to normal. Some of these changes, these bizarre changes, they're going to happen, but it's an ironic thing because I'm like, our situation has to change. That this program cannot stay the same. In a lot of people are going to, I'm not talking about us, but in the world, a lot of people are going to die from all the insanity that's being rolled out. But I look at our situation, I'm like, they're not going to be able to keep an intensive top secret torture program worldwide while they bring all this stuff out to the public, while all these things and technology, when people are staring at it face to face, it's not going to be able to remain the same. There's just no way. Yeah, Jennifer says, I don't think the UN can stop it, but maybe bring awareness. That may be what we need. You know, because if you think about it, if the UN declares it, and then we want to talk to the media, right? From, you know, before the UN declared it, let's think hopefully, right? Before the UN declares it, we go to the media and they just call us mentally ill. They won't speak about it. They've been told not to speak about it. They would talk about the Cuban embassy attacks. They would talk about the China consulate attack, but they won't talk about all the normal people and veterans and everyone that's being targeted and tortured. But if the UN declares it, we talk to the media and we say, look, the UN has declared this issue of cyber torture. I'm being cyber tortured. Think how many people are going to be able to get interviews, how many people are going to be able to talk about it. So it gets this ball rolling, really, no matter what kind of, no matter if the UN can't go to these agencies and go, hey, stop torturing people, if the agencies and contractors in the Pentagon and then whoever's doing it in your country is like, doesn't say anything and keeps going with it, it still gets this ball rolling, right? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, United Snakes of America says United Nations is totally a part of it. There's just there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of chaos right now, which is bad. But I'm like, a lot of moving parts and a lot of stuff is getting jostled around. If we jump in there, the UN, the left hand of the UN that doesn't know about the agendas that, hey, shush up, right? And then it goes like this, and then chaos happens, and then it could mean a lot of different things for us, It's everything's so complicated though. It's hard to know what's going to happen. I'm trying to be like happy and be like, well, it's exciting. The torture could stop and everything, but I'm just looking at everything and I'm like, things are going to get a whole lot worse. And I don't really trust the UN. But it's going to change things. Things are going to change. That's a definite thing. United Snakes of America said they have convinced good people that we are criminals and abusers, and deriving of this, think they gang stalkers may be good people to see they're going after diabolical criminals. Yeah, that's what everybody in my community thinks. I'll tell you one thing. I think that the making videos and speaking out about it, it's changed a lot of my gang stalking, because I think people who gang stalk me in my community, they think that I'm like a drug addict or, the children thing or some kind of mass shooter or something like that. But I've made so many of these YouTube videos and I've been here so long. I think some of these gang stalkers in my area who like live in the same apartment building, I think that they have seen my videos. And I think that it's like, I'm talking about it pretty logically. And I think it's actually affected that. So keep that in mind, guys, that, and I'm not sure about that, but I think it has affected it in some way. Yeah, Andrew Donnett says it's a chaos to order, order to chaos. Social cybernetics, feedbacks, yeah. And it's like, I talk about this a lot, like the evil top of the pyramid, they create crises, right? They create crises to get certain outcomes, to do things they weren't able to do before. Evil evolves, right? So good has to evolve, and good has to say, there's a crisis. We didn't create it. We're going through it. We're dying. We're being tortured. How do I use it? How do I use it to adapt, evolve myself, evolve good, do the best I can for people? We can't, I don't think we're in a society anymore where we can like wait for help and be like, well, after this crisis is over, maybe some good people will ride on in and stop this torture for us. We have to look at these crises that have been created by evil that has evolved, that's taking new forms, right? This evil is evolving, it's taking new forms in our world. It got a lot of power behind it. Good has to do that. Good has to take new forms. It has to get creative. It has to use these evil crises that were created and say, how can I better myself? How can I get stronger? How can I help good people? We and good people never create crisis, right? You don't hurt somebody and then try and use that. But when something has happened, and I think as people, that's hard because we say this awful thing has happened. My life is over. Somebody just needs to, freaking stop this torture, right? But we got to jump on in there and be like, how do I get stronger? How do I use this crisis for good, right? How do I take a new form? How do I change myself so I can be effective? And God will point you in the right direction, right? Faith is completely needed. I think if I didn't have my faith, I don't know, I would probably have killed myself. You know, I'd be in a lot worse shape. Jennifer says, the people doing this know us better than we know ourselves. They have been studying us for years. Yeah, yeah. But man, like, you know, we can evolve and adapt, try and do things counterintuitively, right? You see like those people who are going out and riding, right? They're out there riding. They're like, we're going to change the system, right? But the system is like, we knew y'all were going to ride. We knew you guys were going to do violence, and we're going to use that violence to make DHS fusion centers look better. We're going to use that violence to get normal people to say that more surveillance is needed, and we can remote monitor or whatever like that, right? So it's an intuitive reaction. The rioting, we want change, anarchy. It's an intuitive human action. Humans are acting out, and then the system uses that against us. So as humans, we've got to evolve, and we've got to be counterintuitive. And this is the simple, it's a lot more complicated, but I really think the only way to be counterintuitive and actually effective against the top of the pyramid and autonomous systems that know us better than we know ourselves, right, is we got to get with God, and God will give us a way to be counterintuitive. God will give us some ironic, funky ways, to change things. It's, that's what I see. We do the intuitive thing, we do the reactionary thing, right, and we get screwed because it's a hyper game theory, right? This hyper game theory, they attack, we react, they react, we react, they react, and they know us so well that their reaction is going to trump our reaction. But if we act counterintuitive, we act in new ways, we take new forms, we adapt, we do those things, and human beings are completely capable of it. And AI can kind of evolve by programming and things like that, but not in the way that human organisms that God has made us. He's given us these intensely divine ways to change in very unpredictable ways that are good for us and for others. I know it's a lot more complicated than that. I kind of think that too, Laura. I know that, but I know that we need to talk about what's being done to us. But I agree. Laura says the time has passed that we talk about what they do. Conversation needs to be what we are doing about this day to day and for our future, or we will not have one. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Stacy agrees too. I really agree. I know that, like, you got to get this stuff out, but like over the years, like I'll begin like, oh, my attacks are doing this, and then some target individuals, they want to talk about like my gang stalkers are doing this or torture me, but we really do need to get on it about what we're going to do. But I kind of like looking at information about like, okay, look, these people are talking about this that aren't targeted individuals. We can kind of see the terrain and then go for it. It's tough. It's tough because targeted individuals need to like get it out, like what's happening to them. Yeah, okay. Laura says my tools are do something you love every day, and also the what you're thankful for. Like writing out 5 things every morning of what you're thankful, or just thinking about it. What do you have? Like, what are the good things that you have left? That's what I do. What are the good things that I have left that they haven't taken from me? Hey, politically persecuted. Politically persecuted says, Jennifer, hi. It's the monitoring followed by big data, computer analytics, and AI that allow them to know us so well. This is what allows them to predict our future actions. Yeah. What if you don't even know your future actions? What if you, it's going to be, you can't always hide from yourself what you're going to do. But there's a way to be very spontaneous and be in this kind of faith mode and say, I know I got to take action, but I'm not sure of it. You follow your heart, you do some things that are a little bit more spontaneous that maybe they're not expecting. I think they can. I think they can predict all the crap that we do. I just think we can evolve in ways that that they don't know about yet. Science, everything is frequency and energy, but there's deeper. There's quantum level, there's divine spiritual level. When you get God into the mix, even if they know what you're going to do, and you figure out some things that even if they know you're going to do it, they can't stop you, right? There's ways. There's ways, definitely.
Your memories, your thoughts. Now, people think this is exciting. It's the Matrix. It's literally the Matrix. I want to learn karate. Download it. I know karate. Your body would know how to do it. I want to learn how to be a French cuisine chef. Download it instantly. I can do that. I can learn a language probably within days or one day. I don't know. So that part sounds cool. You think you can control this? Something else is controlling you. Something else is rewriting your emotions, your experiences. You may have artificial memories of things. You don't know what is reality. You become a computer program.
Or erasing
memories. You become
memories.
a character in a computer program that you do not control. This is not sci-fi. This is today.
Yeah.
This all ties in.
It's not sci-fi. It's something that's been happening for decades and decades, and it's going to come out to the public more and more. You know.
DARPA funded a company that produces soft, flexible hydrogels. I've mentioned hydrogels in the past. Injected beneath the skin to perform health monitoring. Important you hear this. They sync to a smartphone app to give the user immediate health insights. However, hydrogel nanotechnology grows and spreads in the body once implanted. We do not know how this affects our DNA. We know that it can send information directly and continuously to an artificial intelligence. Okay, so all of us in a smartphone, mine included, we have health apps. One way or the other, it's in your phone. Sometimes you have to look under a Google app, whatever, it's there. You can disable it, but you can't.
The thing that I don't know, so the hydrogel can come through that little, the little sticker with teeth on it. But what I'm wondering is if they're going to be able to put something like the hydrogel in the vaccine. Like we need it. I mean, nobody's going to be able to look at what's in that vaccine. Nobody's going to be able to see what's in it. We definitely have to not take the vaccine. And that's going to mean no travel on an airplane. It's going to mean maybe even being cut off from your funds, right? Your credit card. And it's coming to, United Snakes of America says, they poison all we love. Everything I once loved has been made to torment me now. And there's this quote from Dante's Inferno where it's like, not the horrible things, but the memory of happy times, or even more of a horror than the really horrifying things. I know what you mean. It's like the good things in life, you can't reach them. You can't reach them, so it's even more horrifying. But that can change. That can change. Yeah, do the things we once loved. Andrew says, yeah, God knows the space down here. He knows us and others and things around us better than anyone. See, that's what I think. I think that like it's this, the AI, it's kind of like putting your hands on a bat and then the AI kind of trumps you, but God is like way up here. And it's like I've been able to do things like against targeting and against my attackers that I wasn't consciously thinking about it, but things added up. All the angles came into place. God had directed it, right? So I have to go into the spirit because my body is so messed up. My mind is just so under control. My attacker is going to be able to, anything that I'm thinking of strategically, I'll still do some things strategically, but it's like God can kind of add that, trumping everything, bringing things together where you didn't even think they could come together. If you get into the spiritual. Politically Persecuted says, researchers have developed a human cell membrane on a chip that allows continuous monitoring of how drugs and infectious agents interact with our cells and may soon be used to test potential drugs. A membrane on a chip. Wow. All this stuff they've used with targeting is coming straight out. Politically Persecuted says, as usual, this technology is being legitimized through university research. In this case, DARPA is finding the respected UK Cambridge universities. There's so many universities involved in this. Yeah, Politically Persecuted says basically the remote neuromonitoring microchipping is being legitimized. It's being legitimized for new medical breakthroughs, for new consumer breakthroughs. Man, it changes everything for us as this comes more and more out to the public. You cannot have a torture program that's raping people with things that are affecting the entire public, with things that the public knows about, like, oh, you know, my thoughts can affect my phone or something like that. And then the people that are like, hey, I'm being raped with frequencies that you guys know about, stuff's affecting you all too. It can't just be like, oh, well, that doesn't exist, right? Because they're living in it. You know, they're living with those technologies. They're living with those technologies affecting them too. Yeah, I like that. Andrew says, our faith can overcome the world. Overcome the world. We can help each other. We can still do good things. I know things don't feel as good because we're being murdered and our brains are being twisted. And my brain, it's like they do the remote neural manipulation where it's just all the time affecting my brain, like how I feel, like my emotions, where at the beginning it was like I'd have spurts of anger, anxiety injected into my brain. Now it's just like all the time, the grip of remote neural manipulation is on my brain. So things don't feel right, things don't feel good, but we can still do good things. We can still break through. Our brain can still adapt and evolve to some things that remote neural manipulation is doing. You can get used to those things and throw them off. And you get to that point where it's like some things become ineffective, what your attacker's doing. Maybe even for years it's been effective, but your brain changes and adapts, right? Yeah, it sucks. Like, this stuff sucks. It's very depressing. I still find happiness in life, even in the misery, even in the darkness. But it takes seeing things through spiritual eyes. It takes seeing things through, you know, not just like, am I happy? Do I have a good life? Are things fun? It's a organic way to see life. You need that extra. You need that other part, the spiritual, of like, did I do something good for people? You know, to feel joy in the spirit is like completely necessary. So if you don't have that, if you know, if it's just like, oh, do I feel? I mean, it's like there's no reason to live. You know.
This is the COVID-19 apps they're putting in too. It has to do with this. They're getting you set up. You have the app, you have the software. Now all you need is this little hydrogel that's put there. And then forever, everything in your body is monitored. For a woman, your ovulation, when you menstruate, how many times you had sex? And for a man, how many times?
See, are they going to have like people take the vaccine first, or 2 rounds? They're saying 2 rounds maybe, which is horrible. But then they're like, okay, and then so we're giving you the vaccine, and then it's going to be like ID 2020 is like the hydrogel thing, where it's like, well, this is going to check to see if the vaccine's working. It's like another thing, like the sticker. We're going to put the sticker on you to make sure the vaccine's working right in your system, or something like that. You're going to see like these layers of vaccination. Laura Ann says, activated charcoal is good when poisoned. Steve, watch Wormwood documentary on Netflix. Frank Olson was the first MK in the 40s, and they killed Frank Olson. Frank Olson was assassinated. It's called Wormwood? I gotta watch that. I gotta watch Wormwood.
How much alcohol content's in your body, all the vitamins and minerals. If you've fallen down, how many steps you're taking. If you're anxious, your emotions, your sleep, everything, know everything about you continuously. It's going to an AI program. What is that doing? That's something they're trying to do very fast. They're already getting you set up on your smartphone. This is not fantasy, this is real. So in conclusion, we are entering into uncharted territory that can change what it means to be human.
Transhumanism.
The vaccines for
Targeted
COVID.
individuals, we have already been transhumanized, and transhumanism is here. They're just doing it in layers. Like every human being on the earth has been transhumanized just by having their smartphones, but then they're introducing more and more layers into our body.
COVID-19 are not safe by any scientific methodology. They're introducing cancerous and mutagenic cell lines into our bodies and have been for a long time. They're introducing toxins into our bodies. This has been going on for a long time. Introducing different animal genomes into our body. This has been going on for a long time.
She also mentions how like natural things they cannot patent. Like nobody can patent a natural food or anything like that, but genetically modified things can be patented. So if the RNA vaccines change our DNA, they can patent our genes. I mean, I think that we're already bonds on a market, right? We're sold and bought and everything like this, but then they can patent our genes if they are affecting them, if they are changing them, incrementally controlling human beings more and more.
Do not have proof that what they said they're going to do will happen. There's absolutely no proof yet, okay? They don't have to have the proof. The recombinant RNA, recombinant DNA technology will cause permanent and unknown genetic changes in a person's body. Permanent. Once their DNA is changed, he or she will live with that change for the rest of their lives. And also the ripple effects from that genetic change. Who knows what it could be for the rest of his or her life. There's no going back. It's not like, oh, I got that vaccine, it didn't work, I won't do it again. No, it's do or die with this. I don't know, and I don't think whoever's trying to market this really knows the ultimate outcome. But it doesn't sound good. Essentially, this creates a new species and perhaps destroys an old one, us as humans that we know. It's also introducing nanotechnology and its robotic effects into the body. This is all suggesting the ability to use this vaccine and its ancillary products, things I mentioned just now. And then some of the names are like ID 2020, etc., to hook us all up to an artificial intelligence interface. This is not a one-way street, this is a two-way street.
Bi-directional stream of energy.
I know it's a lot of information to digest, and it scares me. It has scared me for years. I've been to scientific meetings where they've talked about this. I've been to business meetings where they talk about this. This is real, it's not fantasy. I've studied this since I was in my early 20s, and it's real. And we have to speak up now.
It makes me want to cry.
For us, for our families, for our future generations, for the human race. It's no joke, guys.
It changes things. It changes things when people speak out about stuff. Like so many people start speaking out about Bill Gates and his involvement in this, and how a lot of the nefarious things that he did. And now he's not the face of it, right? It changed that. They were going to leave Bill Gates up there, and now they got to change all that. So we can change, the rolling out of this stuff. It can be changed. It can be quick. And I don't see that. I don't know. I mean, I don't see that a lot of the big stuff can be stopped, because they'll just, like Richie from Boston says, it's like they'll just wait for us to die out, and then they're working on the next generations already. But we gotta speak out about it. We gotta speak out about how wrong it is. It can change our lives individually. It can change other people's lives, and we just don't know. We don't know what kind of miracles God's going to throw at us. It's very depressing. Very, very depressing.
As much as you can, and start talking, and don't stop the social
media. About it.
Stay on all of it, and you start flooding the social media with this. We have a chance if we start to wake up more people. It's with the greatest love and peace I tell you this. And I'm happy to talk about other topics and subjects, and I'll give you these references that I have. have. So tell me what you think, and please speak up, okay? Have a beautiful day. Bye.
Oh, it's really good. Okay, let's watch this video by Dr. Battar. I think it's called Dr. Battar. But how the RNA vaccines are going to change DNA. It kind of backs up what she was saying. Vaccines are so bad. There's also been an increase in autism every year that they've been using vaccines. Detoxing. Laura Ann put a detox tools website in there. You guys try spirulina and chlorella too. Laura says God can do anything, but he wants us to learn to do for ourselves, I think. Yeah, I've kind of experienced that in my life where it's like I can't just sit there and God will just fix things for me. Like I was thinking about it last night and I was like, you know, God, where's our miracle? But I mean, I've experienced miracles along the way, but I was thinking about a person that would maybe say, God, where's my miracle? And then what God would say to them is, you are the miracle, right? He says that in my heart. I think he says that in y'all's hearts. It's like you've got to be the miracle. You start taking action. You start helping people. You start researching things. You start speaking the truth. Then God can get in there, right? Because he's made this world, right? And it's a complicated world. I don't know how the universe works, but free will, you take action, you know, causality, you know, you affect things by taking certain actions. God steps into that. When you don't do anything, you're like, hey, God, just save me, right? He can't jump in there. So we have to be the miracle. Hey, Ray I Am says, hello, Kyle. How are you doing, man? I feel better when I'm doing these live streams and talking to y'all. It gets my head out of the remote neural manipulation. It's really weird. Like lately, the remote neural manipulation has been so bad that I'm like, oh, dude, I can't even think. How am I going to do a live stream or a video? But then I start doing it, and that remote neural manipulation kind of gets unhooked a little bit, right? I'm in a different, my brain's in a different resonance. So sometimes if you don't feel like doing something, you got to like kind of just throw yourself into it, you know? Tansy says, God has also provided for us. We would be ungrateful to not use what he has provided. Yeah. We got 2 arms, we got 2 legs, we got a mouth, you know, we got eyes, we can act, we can do. We've got to, you know, even though this is so dark, it looks so impossible, you know, it doesn't change. It doesn't change what we've got to do. Oh man, getting hit in the throat right now. Andrew said we need the gains on spiritual power to by prayer and faith in the scripture. Yeah, get in your zone, get in the scripture. You know, get closer and closer to God. This is the time that we were born in. Oh man. Oh wow. Hold on a second, guys. Woo. I'm feeling like really dried out for some reason. Yeah, we just don't know. We don't know what the future is going to bring. We don't know how this is all going to work out. Got to just do our best. As much enjoyment as we can have in our life while we're being tortured, to stop the torture, then fight the next battle. Humanity is sort of a fight. That's what I've learned from my birth. It's been about fighting for my survival and helping others, right? And we can ask God. Yeah, Charles says, oh no, Kyle has the COVID. I don't know what's wrong with me. I got this zit over here and I'm like all dried out. And Andrew says, praise the Lord. Definitely. Amen. In the name of Jesus Christ, please bless every targeted individual. Please bless everyone that's watching this video. Please bless all good people in the world. And, you know, do whatever you want to with the evil people, God. Yeah, that's up to you. But bless all good people in the world. Hey, let me start playing this. I got to use the bathroom, guys, but I want to play this video for y'all from Dr. Battar. And he kind of explains how the RNA vaccine can change DNA. And we can't take it. I was kind of thinking about it lately. I was like, if I can't see my parents, or I can't get a job, I can't do anything, And you know, that's what another. I'm going to show you guys some clips from another live stream between Richie from Boston and Days of Noah. They blank me out, but it's like, yeah, I don't think the vaccine is going to be ultimately mandated, but they're going to be like, or at least at first, they're going to be like, well, you don't have to take the vaccine, but if you don't take it, you can't do this, 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 and this, you know, and it's going to cause a lot of problems between family members. Yeah, Laura says, Laura, love to all of you. Do something you enjoy today. Do something productive too, I say. I mean, do something you enjoy. I like it just that way, but also doing productive things makes me feel better. Like when I'm isolated and I'm just playing video games, just trying to survive, I'll get through the day and I'm like, oh, another day of like, of going downhill, being conditioned into feeling like I can't do anything because of the torture. And then when if I make a video or I get something done, I take care of something, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going this way. I'm going up. You know, I'm fighting against this. So doing something productive. But doing something good is something productive, you know. Probably going to go through a lot of information today, guys. Kind of want to get some stuff like off my plate. There's some really good stuff off of Twitter I want to show y'all too. So this is from Dr. Rashid A. Buttar. Be aware of this. This will change us from how we evolve. Let me put on this right here. Let me use the bathroom real fast.
If there's something of this importance that's come out, if there's something of this importance that's come out,
this is where an RNA vaccine comes in.
And nobody's talking about it, the media's not talking about it.
Which becomes possible when you have the virus's genetic sequence.
Then you have to ask yourself, why are they not covering something so critical as what I discussed? Basically, we have our genetic code that's encased in this double helix strand, what we call the DNA. And then there's another component that helps to rewrite that DNA called RNA. Viruses are fragments of this genetic code of DNA and RNA. These DNA and RNA fragments get back into the cell, get incorporated within our DNA structure, and rewrite certain parts of the DNA in order to help us adapt to our environment and to adjust to environmental triggers. Now, viruses exist inside our cells, and if it wasn't for viruses, the human system would no longer have survived the planet, because viruses are how we evolved. Because viruses, these DNA and RNA fragments, get back into the cell, get incorporated within our DNA structure, and rewrite certain parts of the DNA in order to help us adapt to our environment and to adjust to environmental triggers. All right?
This is where an RNA vaccine comes in, which becomes possible when you have the virus's genetic sequence and you know which genes code for which protein.
Making your cell do the work of creating this viral protein that is going to be recognized by your immune system and trigger the development of these
Now,
antibodies.
there's never been an RNA vaccine ever developed. What Moderna is planning on doing is creating this RNA vaccine. This is the company that's never put a vaccine out first. Second, they have never made any product that's been consumed by humans or utilized by humans. Third, they have bypassed all animal testing. RNA vaccine, which will actually introduce RNA fragments into our system. And what that's going to do is it's going to get incorporated inside our DNA and literally rewrite our DNA. It will rewrite our human code, our genetic code. This is basically taking the human system and making it into something else. This is going to generationally be so catastrophic because we have no idea what the implications are. We are talking about rewriting the human genome. Human genetic code will be rewritten by this vaccine, because once it goes in there, it's not like just introducing X or Y or Z. It's introducing in something that is going to start replicating, and it's going to be like a chain reaction. It's going to be like a domino reaction, and it's going to start causing a rewriting.
Hey, yeah, Andrew says, I hope other Christians start up some channels like Kyle. It's really cool. It's really needed too. I'm going to show you a really cool live stream of two Christians kind of talking about where everything's going, right? And I think there are a lot of Christians out there speaking out about this stuff. That's what we have to do as good people, as Christians. Just speak out about this stuff, do the best we can, leave the rest in God's hand, right? Take action, let God get involved, be the miracle, be the change that you want to see in the world. And you know, it's like, okay, just take me. I'm one human being on this earth. I'm being intensely tortured where my brain is like I can't even access my brain the way I want to. I like hate talking like the way that my torture is right now. It's very embarrassing. So I don't want to be like, oh man, you know, they're giving me a lot of artificial anxiety. I can't even really access a lot of my memories or what I want to talk about. It's embarrassing and horrifying. One person on the world, but dude, you push yourself into action, talking to people with trying to have an open heart, right? I just try and have an open heart, talk to you guys, be as real as I can, right? This targeting kind of makes it to where it's like you feel like you can't be yourself a lot. That's one of the things that's really conditioned me in a very negative way. I'm like, I have to put myself out there because I have to tell these truths. I have to say, but I'm sick. Like I'm sick and stressed. But God can take that if you just go out and you go out with an open heart and you do the right thing. God can do miraculous things with it, no question. And this is one thing, guys. I'm not blowing smoke up y'all's butts. You're people that are being tortured and murdered like me. I will never blow smoke up your butt. It really does make a difference. Having faith in God, no matter what. And sometimes, for me, it's not really hard because of what my dad went through and my grandfather and what they taught me. Even if things are horrifying, which they're horrifying for me in our life, they're horrifying for everybody. I'm still like, God's still on the throne. Like God still created this magnificent universe. Life is still a gift, even though I'm being tortured and murdered and things aren't working out good for me. You know, you guys are all going through it. We're all, you know, being tortured and murdered, and no one will listen to us. I'm like, I've got to see this out to the end, and God is still on the throne. And who knows what's coming next, right? In heaven, who knows? Who knows how that's going to be? So I guess my point is on that, no matter how you feel, try and take positive action. I know we all get to this spot where it's kind of like my life has been destroyed and somebody just needs to come help me, right? That's a justified thing. It's a justified way to feel. Somebody just needs to come and correct us. We're being murdered, right? In this world and the way it is, gotta get out there. You gotta be proactive in fighting a war against the targeting too. Not just putting information out, but what can I find to make myself feel better? How can I biohack my health? How can I biohack my nutrition? What kind of passive shielding can I use? How exactly is the targeting working? Because, like, you know, since I found out that a lot of it is electromagnetic pulses to the inner ear. We get those noise canceling hearing aids, get Dave Case's CD. You take an active, even if you don't know the direction you're going in, you start going that positive direction and going, I know I can find a way. I know something's going to come along and God will intervene and miracles will happen, right? Now, on the whole, like humanity, we're all in a horrible situation. But you start just stepping out with the most positive things that you can do, with the most hope that you can find. I mean, and you know, like I'm depressed and in a dark spot, but it's like you just jump out, you try and do as much as you can. You're going to find good things. Not everything is going to be a nightmare. Not everything in your life, because you got to think of life as a gift. You got to think, I'm still alive. I can still do this. I can still do this. I'd like more money. I'd like to be able to make more money so I could help my family and have the things I want. And I hate the way the world is. I wish that I could make the New World Order go away. You know, I wish those things. But you just start with, what do I have in this situation? You know, what can I do? And you say, well, I can't do this, but I can do this. I'm going to do it with the most positive, open heart, with truth on my lips, with God in my heart, trusting in the name of Jesus Christ, trusting in the Spirit, trusting in your divine connection, that you were born for a reason, that you're in this time for a reason, that God, your life has a destiny. You know, and maybe you don't know it. Maybe you thought your destiny was supposed to be this, right? My destiny was supposed to be this. This is what I plan out in my head. But now I'm being tortured and I'm isolated, and you know everything seems to be going wrong. And well, I like to do this. I still have this. I can still do this. I can still do this. And you start building up on those things that you have in faith, and you can change the world. You know, you'll change people. Sometimes you won't even know how much you're changing the world. You may be like, well, I'm just one little person doing some stuff, but then you later on somebody comes to you and they said, hey, yeah, I was going to kill myself, and I watched some of your videos, or I talked to you that day. Sometimes you won't even know how much you're changing people's lives of the world, and it's the truth, guys. You know, it's really hard. It's really hard to stay optimistic in this world. I think it's easier just to look at the information and laugh at it, right? I see a lot of non-targeted individuals looking at what's happening in the world. Like some channels, I don't want to name any channels, but they're not targeted individuals, healthy people. They have jobs, you know, they live with a girlfriend or a boyfriend or something like that, and they're looking at the riots on their videos and they're laughing at it like, this is crazy clown world, and they're comfortable and they're like, this is all going to shit, and they don't really need to have that much hope because they're physically comfortable. They've got their happiness, right? But I say, as targeted individuals, we can't afford not to see hope in the future. Of course, like, things are crazy. Sometimes we got to laugh at how crazy they are, but we can't just be like, well, I've got my comfortable life. And you know, it's weird how non-targeted individuals do it. And they look at everything, they laugh at it. They don't care if it's going to get better because their life is pretty much comfortable. When it comes to them, they're going to care. They're going to need hope. I don't know if y'all get what I'm saying there. Hey, Arachno Nixon. Arachno Nixon says, my rent was due on the 22nd. I'm not paying until the targeting stops. Probably going to get evicted, but I don't even care anymore. Oh, man. So you're not going to stay at the place you're at, Arachno Nixon? I hear a lot of people say that. Arachno Nixon says, no whining. Yeah, I just don't know what to do anymore, but I can't take it any longer. I'm hearing that a lot, guys. I'm hearing it from a lot of targeted individuals. I'm even thinking it myself some days with the physical and mental torture. Like, I can't do this anymore. We got to make it till October, guys. We've got to make it a little bit longer. I really think things are going to change on a level that I don't know how, but I know our situations are going to change. We've got to hang in there. We've got to survive. And what I would really suggest for you guys that are just like, I can't take this any longer, I would go to my shielding videos, you know, start getting some stuff you can put around your head and your neck, the noise canceling hearing aids, Dave Case's CD, the grounding. If you're not grounding and you're getting massive external hits, you're getting remote neural manipulation and everything, you need to be grounding. Grounding is maybe where you need to start. And then what we're going to do, there's many things to shield right now, but I'm looking into things that are better. I've already experienced like backing this torture down a little bit so that sometimes it feels like it's bearable for me. But if you cannot, if you're in this torture mode where you're like, I just can't take another day, that's your priority. Your priority is to go from, I just can't take another day of this, to being like, this sucks, my life sucks, but I can do some stuff, and like, I've kind of backed the torture down. That's your number one priority. I know, man, this sucks. It does suck. If we could just make it to October, some of these changes. Yeah, Arachno Nixon says the 24-hour-day harassment is unrelenting. Yeah. Okay, Tansy put No Whining's channel in there. This is No Whining's channel. She is sharing Dr. Robert Duncan's book with us and has a lifetime of experience to share with us. So everybody check out No Whining's channel. I've been hearing that a lot lately, Arachne Nixon, like, I cannot take another day. Yeah, this is hell on earth. It's a nightmare. This is definitely a nightmare.
Of the genetic code within our system. It is going to adulterate and mutate our DNA so that we are not even human anymore. When I say that, I'm not saying it metaphorically. I'm talking about generationally. That's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to start changing how our systems evolve.
How many of you guys watch Dr. Buttar? I don't really watch him that much. I think I'm sub to No Whining. I think everybody knows what Arachne Nixon is feeling. I really do. I'm feeling like, I'm starting to feel like, I like making videos and putting information out, and I'm so sick. Like, I'm so mentally, like, I'm just like, sometimes I'm like, I'm not capable of making, my thoughts are just too unorganized. I just force myself to. But I'm kind of in that place. So the grounding, like, if you guys don't use grounding, I stopped the grounding for like 2 weeks, right? Like I was still using my noise canceling hearing aids, but I was like, man, I think the grounding is working against me or something like that. Like my attackers are maybe manipulating it. Took it off for 2 weeks. Everything got 10 times worse. The external hits were like 10 times worse. It was unbearable. Got my grounding back on. I felt a little bit better, but then I was like, well, these noise canceling hearing aids, I'm just checking everything because I forget how good they're working. So I take my noise canceling hearing aids out for about 2 weeks. The high pitch ringing got so bad, the crushing in my head, everything like that, the remote neural manipulation, it was like 10 times worse. So just on those two things, or like Dave K's CD, the noise canceling hearing aids, the grounding or earthing, those things can change everything, because you've got to remember that we're dealing with external hits, but we're dealing with remote neural manipulation, and it's in a cycle, right? They're tuning into your brain more and more, and it can amp up your pain levels. It can amp up your pain levels exponentially. So if you do something to cut that off, that biorelevant feedback loop the remote neural manipulation is doing, it can give you relief at an exponential level. Like it can give you relief that's like, oh wow, that's a whole lot more than I ever thought that it could change, right? So, but I know that everybody's hurting. I want to go listen to you read that book, No Whining. Yeah. Yeah, Arachne Nixon says, LOL, it almost reminds me of an alien pretending to be human in some cheesy old sci-fi movie. They're easy to spot. Yeah. Yeah. I had a lady the other day, and what she does is I'll bring Pepper out, and she'll like walk in my path, and she'll act scared of Pepper. She'll act like she doesn't know what to do, and then I think she goes and reports me to the homeowners association. She complains about my dog, and she was like walking around the parking lot the other day, and like I went out and I just kind of said hey to her. She was like walking by me and everything like that, and she like looked over at the maintenance guy like he was gonna come arrest me and take me away. Like that's what people look at me. They look at me like I need to get out of here. Well, I'm being murdered in my place. But I go out there and like I see some of my gang stalkers, and they look at me like I need to be arrested immediately. They don't even know me. Like they don't even know me. It's incredible. While I'm being murdered. The only way that I've dealt with any of those traumatic, awful things of like being murdered, then being gang stalked or like betrayed or whatever, I like pray about it, but I almost have to just put everything into this big generalization. Like this is a horrible, crappy time. the targeting, and I try not to look into the details of what happened. I try to put the details behind me and just say, this is an awful program. It's done so much bad stuff to me. And I try and just like look in detail of the good stuff, but all the really awful stuff, I try and put it in a basket and not remember the details of it. Like that time when the couple walked past me, a couple of pieces of poo, the couple, the guy and the girl walked past me and they coughed and stuff like that when I was like, when my spine felt damaged, awful. Like, and if I kept the details of that, which I just remembered in my head, it's too much. It's too much to remember how awful those things are. So it's like I try to like sweep it over to a generalized basket and try and compartmentalize it. Now, sometimes our attackers won't let us do that. They'll keep re-injecting with remote neural manipulation. But really, really pray to God and say, God, can you put all those horrible, traumatic things, don't let me remember them in detail. Put them in this awful, horrible basket of what the targeting does. Then when you do good things, remember those things in detail, you know? Yeah, Craig W. says, my maintenance guy is a perp. Yeah, mine is too. He's kind of laid off me, though. It's been so long. Like, I've stayed in the same place for years, and it's gotten weird for him. Like, he doesn't know what's going on, and he's, like, starting to rethink the whole thing, you know? Wait, where are y'all going, Tansy? Where are y'all going to be? He said, cool, Kyle, it would be awesome to have you there. Are y'all going to do a live stream or something? I'll definitely go to your live stream. Everybody check out No Whining's channel and Tansy's channel, too. They both have great channels. Yeah, K-Love says, I want to go home so bad. There is so much love in the heaven dimension. Yeah. I want to stay. Like, I want to survive. I don't know if that's mind control, but I want to do some things in my life still. Even with all the awful, I'm not just like, oh, well, I could just die right now and I don't care. I kind of want to stick around for as long as I can. It's weird. Because I would think with all the torture that I've experienced and everything, I'd be like, well, I'm ready to go. But I don't. Even being tortured, I'm like, life is a gift. There's still things to experience. There's still people to help. And it's like, maybe, I don't know. It's like God has different paths for all of us. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Tansy says, Kyle, No Whining's live stream. So guys, No Whining is doing live streams. I'll come. I'll be in chat. Steve and Stacy, like I've seen some of his. I haven't actually been to any of them while he's doing live streams, but he's doing a bunch too. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, Tansy says, I'm setting up after I move to my new torture chamber. Oh, so you're moving? Yeah. I wish that when we moved, it would go away. I wish it would go away. I've moved like 6 times. Hey, let's watch this, guys. This is pretty good. Maybe this will cheer you guys up. This is Richie from Boston, and this is a live stream, so you guys need to check this out. It's Richie from Boston and Days of Noah. And if you guys want to know kind of how I feel about, in general, the way things are going, watch this live stream. It's really good. It really resonated with me. Really like Days of Noah and Richie. And then, of course, Days of Noah. And I didn't get that marked down. Maybe we'll listen to some more of it. But he's saying, like, God has put you in this time. You need to get close with him and do the best that you can, and not live in fear. I think it's hard for targeted individuals because it's like, I don't think a lot of us live in fear, but we get traumatized, we get depressed, we're in pain, and that maybe those things would look like fear to somebody else. They'd be like, you can't live in fear, but it's like, no, artificial anxiety, artificial depression, trauma, gang stalking, external hits, death. We gotta try and get our resonances up, go to the high frequency. There are good people in the world and great things in the world, guys. We're surrounded by gang stalkers. I understand that, but not everybody in the world is a gang stalker, So I forget
always.
I forget what they're talking about. Okay, so this is on Richie from Boston 2. Richie from Boston 2 is called "It's Not Going to End Until We All Get the Shot." And I think everybody's basically saying, you know, not going to get the vaccine. I'm not going to get it. It's way too dangerous. And then I think Days of Noah is just kind of talking. He's just kind of talking about everything right here.
He's having to depend on the expert class, right? This whole idea of the expert class and the ignorance of the masses due to compulsory education, and our little interest in actually, you know, questioning things. I guess the majority of the population doesn't really question much when we feel we're safe and protected by experts. So there's that whole component. So that's why I think we see a lot of people not very willing to question what's going on and very eager to accept what they're being told. And then aside from that, there's also this idea of, so you're talking about this new vaccine. It's interesting because we have several that are pretty much ready to go, and it's interesting how they all came at the same time.
Hey, I know what you mean, Arachnonixon. I think a lot of people feel that way. Arachnonixon says, when people offer BS solutions like, oh, just stop drinking caffeine, have you tried sleeping pills? I know they mean well, but it pisses me off so much when they say stuff like that. This is the thing, though, Arachnonixon. Think of it this way. Think of it this way, because, like, I get it. I get that. Like, this small change, how's that going to stop being fired upon by directed energy weapons, strong electromagnetic fields affecting the brain, gang stalking and everything? But try and turn your thought to every little bit counts and can give you, can widen that, can get you going up. Like, so if you, cutting out caffeine, that's a pretty small thing, but, you know, like a new supplement that you take that can cleanse you out, or trying some earthing or something, it gets you going in a positive direction, and you add up all those little wins, right? And it has a major effect on your body, has a major effect on your body, has an effect on your mind. You're like, this is helping me. So I know those things are small and stuff like that, but there's a very practical scientific thing to changing small things for the better in your life. And you can add those things up, and it really has an effect on this magnanimous targeting. So try and think about it that way. And yeah, people are just helping, even though it's like, oh man, that's a small thing. How's it going to affect massive targeting that's killing me? You know? Hey, Jared says, I watch RFB all the time. Yeah, I love RFB, man. He talks about his targeting. Yeah, dude, you gotta start. I would do the earthing first. Do earthing, everybody. If you're getting external hits, if your targeting is just way out of control, try the earthing first. But you got to think about it like, I'm gaining ground. I'm gaining ground. And the thing with this targeting is it's being done in this exponential way. Like, the remote neural manipulation is just amplifying pain levels when they're externally hitting you. If you can cut some things off, it's going to also help you in exponential ways, because you're trying to break into the cycle that's grown and grown and grown. This trauma, what the remote neural manipulation is doing, the external hits, it's all built up. It keeps building up and getting worse. So you throw a monkey wrench into part of it, and it kind of cuts that cycle off. You want to start, you know, rolling into a positive cycle, and it can give you a lot more relief than you're expecting, you know. But yeah, I think this is what I think. I think it's like when you're being murdered, and, you know, I've talked to targeted individuals like this. I'm kind of like, because I try everything. Trying everything has helped me. Some things don't work, and it's like I'll try them and maybe they won't work, but then I hit something that does work. But it's kind of like if you're a targeted individual, if anybody says anything like, hey, just try this, and it can you know, really make your targeting a whole lot better, it gets annoying because you know what you're dealing with, you know. But man, you get some incremental wins, you know, you cut into, I'd say the most important things, guys, the 3 things you should start with, 3 defensive things you should start with. The grounding, get some grounding straps or a grounding blanket or something. Grounding. And then Dave Case's CD, those things are not as expensive as the noise canceling hearing aids, but those 3 things will change your life. Like if I could get Brian to use the noise canceling hearing aids and Dave Case CD and ground, he'd be able to, you know, do, you know, talk more about like actually what's happening. He actually went to the hospital. Get started though, incremental, you know. Okay, listen to that. Laura said 80% of my symptoms went away detoxing from heavy metals and fungals. So what things do you use, Laura? I use the chlorella, spirulina. I take iron. Iron has been very important. I think I was anemic. Because when you're targeted with directed energy, it messes up your iron levels in your body. So iron changed things for me, but that's not getting heavy metals out. Spirulina, chlorella, boron, cleansing baths with borax, and then Epsom salt. It can change everything. That can change everything. Ragnar Nixon says, I've been yelled at by more Karens in 2020 than I have cumulatively over the rest of my life. They're more brazen than ever before. I kind of look at Karens this way. I think we need Karens. Like, I think that we would just get rolled over by the New World Order, and there'd be no barriers if we didn't have Karens asking for the manager. I think those people are a necessary, I don't want to say evil, but a necessary hardship on society. I have a Karen friend that she would call the manager. She'd call the manager every time
week,
if anything was
Oxford
wrong.
that they just came
And the
out
world
with
needs her.
yesterday, the day before. Oxford has just presented their vaccine that's pretty much ready to go. It's showing progress, and it's producing antibodies, which is, I guess, the green light for these things. At least that's what they tell us. So we have Oxford has one. Moderna had one, I believe, last week. And there's one more. I can't remember.
Avia or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So
those are the guys that straight up came out and said, we give you the vaccine, and then a device that looks like a toothbrush. We hit it, it releases a frequency very quickly, and then that gets the entire vaccine rolling, where it starts to change your DNA. It's all in there. I don't know if I can pull it up.
Think about 5G, right? They put a vaccine into people that needs to be activated by frequencies, and they've got a 5G grid to do it. They've got a frequency weapons grid. And you've also got to think about this. There's 5G, there's already 6G and 7G that hasn't been rolled out to the public that targeted individuals are being affected by. 7G is photonic energy that interacts with DNA. So if you think about it, they do a vaccine, an RNA vaccine that changes the DNA to, and I don't know, I mean, it's complicated stuff, so I don't know exactly how it's going to change the DNA, but specifically for 7G to be able to work a specific way. To like maybe, I mean, who knows? Who knows if you got photonic energy affecting DNA that's been manipulated by RNA vaccines? I mean, talk about transhumanism. They may really be able to make us to do the Matrix thing. Like really do the Matrix thing.
I'll try.
That's another interesting part about this. This type of vaccine is the first of its kind.
And no one seems to care. Electronic vaccine.
No one's questioning that. Yeah, no one's questioning that, which is alarming. So that's definitely a strange situation there. And it's interesting. So they have all these vaccines ready to go. They're talking about, well, hey, we might even have them ready by the end of the summer, possibly right around November. Wink, wink.
Yeah, they already have them.
We have this new push. What is it? Operation Warp Speed is full steam ahead, and this whole question about mandating: is it going to be mandated? Is it going to be forced? As you stated, a lot of people are willing to take this. I think a large majority of people, though many are waking up, a lot of people are just super down to take this. They're ready to go. They want their life back. They want their job back. They want their Starbucks back and their Netflix.
And let me just remind everybody that if you go back to the live stream days and I did a while back, we already said they would do a war of attrition. They'll just keep making life so inconvenient. People will just give me the vaccine so I can go back to work, so the economy can turn back on, kids can go back to school, because they're hitting it from every single solitary angle. And I don't think people understand it. This is the new world order. This is the 5G system. There will be no more schools. You know, that video you put up on Patreon today, you nailed it, dude. You nailed it.
Thanks. And I think it kind of follows off of what you've been saying regarding the schools and this idea of there will be no more schools. And there's a lot of accuracy, as ominous as that sounds.
I think the plan is, like, and I've heard a lot of people say this, and I kind of agree. When you think about what's happened to us as targeted individuals, right? Isolated in our homes, or a lot of targeted individuals are homeless and isolated. But I think the plan is more and more to get the public isolated in their little box, right? Watching their propaganda, interacting solely on the internet, working on the internet. Like, have you guys seen that movie Surrogates? Surrogates, where it's like the people are in this, they get into this little container, and then they send their robotic surrogate out to live their life. I think it's gonna not at first be like that, but I think one of the angles is to get everybody living in their little box, to stop socializing and everything like that, to do everything online, and that way people are way more easily controlled, that they're not in large groups talking to each other. What they have planned, so bad, so bad. Yeah, Tansy, you said it. Tansy says, Laura, I think our biggest defense is to not be silent. We have to speak out, guys. We have nothing to lose, only everything to gain. And you'll find yourself getting some big wins if you just speak the truth. You put yourself out there. Being targeted, sometimes maybe you won't say the right things, or it'll feel bad because you're anxious and stuff like that. But you're going to feel on the whole way more better for speaking. And we are Jor-El right now, guys. We're Jor-El. Like, maybe it's going to come anyway, but we're targeted individuals. We know what they plan on doing to the population. We know about the Neuro Society. Like, at this point, with what they're doing with vaccines, I was kind of like in my head for a while, because I have to be hopeful to survive. I was like, okay, maybe things can go back to normal. We'll stop being targeted. I have to do that. I have to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Like, I think we should all do that. But now I'm like, yeah, they're definitely going for the Neuro Society. They're probably going to get the Neuro Society. You know, who knows what's going to happen in the future? But, and I know that we, like, this is the weird thing, right? This is the weird thing. We need somebody to stop our murders, right? We that's justified. We're human beings who haven't done anything to anybody. Please stop murdering us. Please stop raping us with directed energy weapons. Please stop mind raping us with remote neural manipulation. However, I see that we have a responsibility to warn people, and some people aren't going to listen. They'll still think we're mentally ill, right? We have a responsibility to warn people, because things are going to get so bad, right? Things are going to get so bad that I see a responsibility. We still have the right to stop being murdered, you know, too. But I just see that every human being has a responsibility to the human race, right? Some people, you know, aren't, like sociopaths and psychopaths don't care. They're just out for themselves. But if you're a compassionate person, you know, we have a responsibility to the human race. And we are integral. We have an integral piece, you know, integral information in total with what's happening to us, that everybody needs to know about what's coming, you know. Laura says, evil will always be the one that looked the other way and said nothing. That pisses me off. Yeah, good people, like people that are well adjusted in the society and are just kind of taking care of themselves, and they don't want to hear about any of the bad stuff, they're really evil at this point. Like, to stay ignorant of things and to be well adjusted when other people are being genocided and raped and stuff, you're not a good person anymore. You know, talking about people who are not being tortured. This isn't really affecting them, and they're not doing anything or saying anything. And it's a weird situation on the earth, like with people who are just like, you know, just living it up or whatever. Arachno, I agree. Arachno Nixon says, I'll die before I take the vax. Me too. It's so dangerous. I think I'll still be able to see my parents. I hope. Yeah. No, that's Arachno Nixon says, think about it. How could you possibly start a rebellion over the internet? It'd be monitored and infiltrated before it even began. Yeah. Yeah, but I see what you're saying. But it's like we've got to just do it whatever way we can. We've got to jump on anything, and maybe, you know, it seems to be pretty effective, right? Like talking about targeting, talking about all this stuff. It seems to have led to protests. It seems to be leading to the UN investigation. So things seem to be moving forward, and it's not as quick, right? It's not as quick as maybe in the past, being able to start some rebellion just naturally. But it still gets some stuff done. Yeah. I don't really see this. I see this as just, we've got to tell the truth, you know, and change things as much as we can. The rebellion, I mean, if you want to think about, Arachno Nixon says, Tansy, many facets to it also keeps us from organizing any form of resistance or rebellion. But you think about, like, we see the people doing the protests and now the riots, and they're like, yeah, we're rebelling, anarchy, or, you know, whatever. We need to abolish the United States. We want to defund and get rid of the police. But then they're playing into their hands, right? So any kind of physical rebellion is just going to be used against us. So it's like, we've got to tell the truth and get more people. This is my thing. We get more people knowing about the situation, and then we have a lot more brains thinking about solutions, right? The more that the public knows about some of these horrible situations, the more people we have on the problem. And that, as one person, you know, with you guys in the live stream talking about this information, that's how I think about it. I think about the more people that know that this is happening, especially non-targeted individuals, because we're all being remote neural manipulated. We're all being like torn down. It's hard for us to do a lot. It's hard for us to think like we once did. I mean, I'm just thinking about me. It's hard to think of like really, really brilliant things. Sometimes I squeeze one out. But I think you know, the more that the public knows about things, the more smart brains that we can have on creating solutions. You know, when things are relegated to a certain percentage of the population being tortured and people aren't listening to them, it's just harder to do things. It's harder to get anything done. It's a very different world than it was like back in the days when people could protest or have a revolution and that like really affect anything. We're gonna have to kind of move forward with what we can do, and God's gonna have to get in it. You know, but honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't want to say this. I'm still thinking things through, but at the moment, I think things can change drastically for us and the intense torture. I think that situation is close. I think we're close to that. It's an ironic thing. I don't think transhumanism, some of the New World Order's plans, I think they're just going to happen because they're going to wait our generation out. Then the next generation, they're going to teach people as they're growing up, right? Unless people can teach their children and pass this stuff on, I'm like, there's some of this stuff we may not be able to change. That's how depressed I am right now. But I'm just you know, talking about it. But I think but the thing that I want to convey there is I really think that our situation as targeted individuals with the intense targeting, that can definitely be changed. And I think that's very soon. But then we're going to have to deal with everything else that people are having to deal with in the world. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, Arachnonix says, nah, the rioters now are completely controlled. Exactly my point. Well, dude, I'm not controlled, man. Like, I mean, I've made a channel with like 3,000 subscribers. I get information out to you guys. I get information out to hundreds of people sometimes, you know, and I'm just a targeted individual that made a channel. So like, if I think about that, I'm like, oh, well, everything's going to be infiltrated, but no, I got through, you know. That helps me with that, to actually do it. Dude, I bet you if you made a channel, you'd have hundreds of TIs on that are watching every one of your videos, and you'd see that you're able to get facts out there, you know. How many TIs by the hundreds of views on some of my videos, thousands of views on some of my videos, that I was telling about defenses, Dave Casey, grounding, you know, the noise canceling hearing aids, other stuff, right? That it's changed their lives. Like they survive because of it, right? So, I mean, I just see, like, in my own path, I've seen that one person can make a difference. We spread information out, then other people start making a difference too. I've seen that it does make a difference, you know. Turning the whole thing around, I don't know. You know, turning the whole world around, what the New World Order is doing, you know, who knows? But we can definitely make a difference, you know.
Things are completely changing. Everything we have known is being altered, is being distorted and changing into a completely different system. We've discussed this with the Great Reset of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. We didn't even get into a quarter of what's really in that literature. But overall, things are going to be different, and school is a start. And in the vaccine situation, I believe.
So Richard from Boston put in, the medication is injected under the skin with a needle, then activated with a device that resembles a toothbrush, which delivers an electrical impulse for a fraction of a second, allowing the DNA to something. So I guess it, like, allowing the DNA to, like, accept it or something like that.
To be willing to take it, they might not have to make some draconian mandate that every single person has to have it, but there will be severe restrictions. You won't be able to travel. You won't be able to open, like, bank accounts probably at major banks.
You won't be able to sell. You won't be able to shop.
Exactly.
I'm kind of thinking about, like, everybody says the vaccine and ID 2020, that's the mark of the beast. But how I think about it, like, it's the revelations of John, right? And maybe he got a vision of, like, people's foreheads and hands. And I think, this is what I think right now, is that it's like people's thoughts, their thoughts turned into actions. They will be marked because their actions will mark them. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now, the mark of the beast. But everybody seems to think it's the, you know, ID 2020. Foreheads and right hands. You think about it, people take action. They think something, and then they do it with their hands. I think the mark of the beast is, like, people's thoughts and actions, like doing things for the beast system.
Since, you know,
we're already
hard to
accept now. Just with the face mask, you can't go into a store, you can't order a meal. We were talking about that before we went live. It's a real thing.
The face mask is the precursor, the foot in the door technique. It's absolutely.
Oh, really?
The first.
Dude, that's awesome, Tansy. Tansy said, Kyle, that first live stream I did with you has 1.4 thousand views. Yeah, I mean, I have some videos with like 15,000 views and stuff like that. It's possible to make a difference. Arachno Nixon says, Kyle, that's why what you and others do is so valuable. If we are killed off in a generation, then the next generation will find your work when they try to figure out what the hell's going on. Yeah. I think people have to, like, I think people are going to have to get their kids out of the school system. Like, I think people are going to have to start teaching their kids at home and passing along certain values, because the system's going to try and indoctrinate each upcoming generation to be, like, way more cynical and to, you know, be PC and kind of left-oriented and communist and stuff like that. I think people are going to have to be passing down direct education to their children. You know, I think life's going to be a lot harder that way. So you're going to have to do everything they have to do, plus teach their children. But I'm telling y'all, that's a plan. And Richie from Boston says it. It's to, you know, and he says it later on. He's like, they just want to get rid of me, somebody who cares about honor and honesty and faith in those things, right? They want to get rid of those things that are like part of our soul, part of our human spirit, because those things are strong. You can fight against evil with those things. If people are robotic and they're just using their intellect, you know, they've got us. But they want to like wait this generation out, and they want to, you know, consistently, you know, corrupt the next generations coming up. I don't know how it's all going to turn out. Like, honestly, I'm like, how do we use this as targeted individuals? Like, it's a horrible thought. I don't think it's right for me to do that. I should really care about everyone else in the world. But I'm like, okay, all this bad stuff's going to happen. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I'm going to speak the truth about what's happening. I'm going to try and help my family and you guys. But I'm like, how do we get the intense torture to stop? Because that, every time somebody tells me, and don't stop telling me this, I'm not saying it to make people feel guilty. Every time a targeted individual says, I can't make it one more day, I can't take this anymore, like I'm losing my mind. You know, it's just like, it's I got to do something. I got to stop this, right? And I've gotten to a point, it frustrates me because I've gotten to a point, it's really bad. I think I trick myself. I say, well, I'm bearing it. I can at least do good stuff. You got to trick yourself. Quentin Tarantino once said, somebody said, well, how do you get through the tough things in your life? And he said, I grandiose myself out of them, right? I think of myself, I think of the situation as better than it really is. You got to kind of trick yourself. God can help you doing that and not becoming crazy, right? You don't want to become crazy and delusional. You don't want to be delusional, but you want to grandiose yourself out of these huge situations. You want to kind of see the good in the situation, even if you're dying, which we are, that you grandiose yourself out of it. Kind of the fake it till you make it type thing. Things aren't good, I'm dying, but like, oh, this is good, I enjoy this. And then you'll find yourself catching on to a higher frequency, right? You do it with God, you pray to God, you'll find yourself catching on to this higher frequency, and then amazing things can happen. Now, not everything's going to be an amazing thing, right? And there's shitty things that are going to happen. Bad things are going to happen. Bad things are going on in the world. But if you're in a state of like, I'm dying, I just, man, I want to kill myself, and like, there's nothing good, and you know, then nothing good can happen, because you're in this, and this is the top of the pyramid is really trying to do this to people, trying to get people in a low frequency. They're just weight it down to the ground, and then it's like the world can have its way with them. The top of the pyramid, the organizations can have their way with them. If we attach ourselves to a higher frequency, we grandiose ourselves out of it, right? You're going to catch a wave of high frequency, and bad stuff will still happen. Really bad stuff will still happen. But it gives you this divine probability. I just came up with that. Divine probability that those really amazing things can come in. I'm getting goosebumps saying this, guys. This is true. What I'm saying, I've lived this. And I know it's hard, but you catch on to that high frequency by grandiosing yourself out of a situation. It's not that bad. I still got this. Oh, I'm going to try this thing, this defense, or this supplement, and it's going to help me. And when you try those things, some of them may not work, right? But some of them you'll catch things that actually do. Okay, let's play this a little bit more. But seriously, grandiose yourself out of the situation. Don't be delusional. You know, we're in a bad situation. We're dying. But miracles exist. The divine connection exists. You know, we got to catch on to those high frequencies. I'm gonna make some videos just about that. We all need it. We all need a more grounded, more factual. We've got to make it to October. We've got to make it to October, and a lot of people are really hurting. Grandiose yourself out of the situation.
Getting everybody used to following orders without having to consider evidence or having to consider a proper reason for the orders is a first step into destabilizing a society, breaking the spirit of that society, and getting them prepped for a society and a type of technocratic system that is ultimately going to just be controlling them and controlling everything they do in life. It's, you know, it's just, this is what it is. It's coming. It's coming a lot faster than we had imagined. Back to the school idea. Yeah, school is going to be interesting because we both know, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners are well aware of the damaging type of results we find with compulsory education, and it's pretty much a socialization program. It creates workers. It doesn't really do much outside of that. It teaches you how to behave in the society, how to be a successful citizen, and all of these things. So we understand that what we have now called school isn't necessarily great to begin with, but what we're going to be having coming up next is going to be even worse. So not only are we going to miss out on the social aspect where kids learn to, you know, make friends and form friendships and grow amongst peers and all of these things, not only are we going to lose those, I'd say, fundamental aspects of development, but also we're going to be losing any real semblance of learning that there ever was in the first place. So we're now going to be trained.
Yeah, that makes sense, Jared. Jared says we are targeted because it's the end times and we are following Christ. They know it before we do. We have God's mark. Yeah. We have that special connection. And I think we've got to use it till it's our time to go and meet him. I really feel that. And I felt it in other TIs, that they have that divine connection. And I think maybe at the top of the pyramid, maybe lower down, it wasn't like this. It was like putting us in this program for other reasons. But at the top, somehow there were algorithms to really get people with that divine connection that had God's mark on them. Yeah. Laura says, Brian's stubborn. Good luck. Brian's really stubborn. If I could just get him to... Yeah. Oh, that's what you're talking about? Yeah. If I could get him to use the noise canceling hearing aids and Dave Case's CD, I've tried. He's like, it's not going to work. It's not like, and I'm not insulting Brian. Brian has a lot of important information. He's in a lot of pain, but I'm just like, even for him, don't be like that. Try things. Like, some things are not going to work. This is something that, this technology is something nobody's dealt with. You know, we're blazing a path, right? We're blazing a path. And so we've got to throw spaghetti at a wall sometimes. I think people aren't some people are made like me. They're spaghetti throwers. They like throwing spaghetti at a wall, right? We try a bunch of stuff and whatever works, whatever sticks. Some people don't work that way. Like, some people are like, they want to know everything about it. They want to know if other people have used it. They want maybe the mainstream news or scientists to tell them something. We've got to be a little bit, if you aren't a spaghetti thrower, you know, try and condition yourself to be a spaghetti thrower.
Specific subject.
Throw a lot of spaghetti.
It's going to be geared towards certain industries. Education isn't going to be less about humanities and more about specific industries, almost trade school-like, but not as valuable as a trade school. And it's going to be very surface level. And in fact, I think we're also going to have education that has nothing to do with trades or learning anything valuable at all. It's almost going to be a type of entertainment school, because if we pay attention to what the Great Reset says, a large part of the labor force is going to be removed, and there's going to be a new form of work. And I think it's going to come in the shape of what we would see in the episode 2 of season 1 of Black Mirror, where individuals are playing video games and writing.
Let's go to the next one.
Weird, strange.
This is a great interview, guys. Go listen to it. RFB2. Like, I sat there and I listened to the whole thing, and I love what Days of Noah says. I love how he approaches what is happening to our world. I get a little bit pissed off. I can't lie to you guys. I get a little bit pissed off when it's people who are not targeted and they seem to be dealing with everything. So, oh, well, it's okay. And like, we just gotta, you know, and I can tell they're like really physically healthy and they're not dying. I'm like, what do you know about getting through hard stuff? That's a human thing for me, but he's a really awesome guy. Richie says something weird about the I got to get rid of some of that stuff. Like, I get really angry at people who are not targeted, and I'm like, you're just laughing at all this. It's okay for you, but you're not dying, you know. What the hell? Richie says something later. I think I'm gonna play. Okay, it's the next one. I'll play it for you guys. I thought it was kind of weird. It was kind of like he's targeted. Like Richie from Boston is targeted, and I know he is. He says like me and some other people, we were targeted, and I think it was a test run. So he seems to think that the targeting is like over for him. So I mean, maybe it's stopped.
These three played a huge role spiritually and institutionally in that time.
I don't think
we
it's
want to talk about the drugs, which they all dabbled in to a degree. We can go way, way back to the East India Company and the Opium Wars, where some of this originated, right? So drugs have always been used as a spiritual element, pharmakia, to control populations, to destabilize communities. And it's always been a targeted effort. And, all confusion.
Okay, and what RFB put on the screen, I like Joe. Maybe he said some things that are kind of wrong. Tansy put a link in and said, this is called the Two Witnesses movie, and it blew my mind. Would love people to watch it so we can talk about it. Okay. Tansy says, Kyle, I personally highly recommend you watch the link I put up in your own time. I think you will totally resonate with it. Yeah, I'll watch it. The Two Witnesses. I need to watch some more biblically oriented things and get more into the Bible. Arachno Nixon says night of spaghetti throwers. I think some people just aren't like that. They work, and I'm not saying it's better or worse. I'm just saying that's how my mom taught me. So I throw spaghetti, and I usually hit some really good things. And I think with this, it's like necessary, because with this, it's not textbook. It's like we know information, but it's not anything where it's like, oh, this has worked every time, or we're trying to figure it out. And I think some people are just like more. It's got to be something that's tested and proved, and I've been trying to do that with some of the defenses, like test them, get other people to use them, then talk about it, and then we can say this definitely works, and it works this way with everybody. I've been trying, and some people do, but it's hard. It's like for people that stuff works with, some of them it just works, and they don't really shout it out because they don't want it to stop working. So there's some problems with getting everybody who's used stuff to be like, yeah, try that, and it really worked.
Division aside, yes, certain groups were targeted at different points in history. Everyone's been targeted to a degree, and certain ones are picked at certain times. And we're experiencing a specific time where certain groups were used, and we're just seeing the results of all of that. It's funny how it's all kind of played out over time, but it hasn't played out in a way that can't be documented. And I think we all try to our best abilities to document how it's all kind of rolled out historically.
Okay, so somebody just left a comment that caught my attention, and it is what it is. I'm not calling anybody out, but another YouTuber who he sounds like Gilbert Godfrey to me, and he always had a good message. I've had him on before, but the fact that he just kept petitioning and going after the government and going to city council, any of that was ever going to change anything, kind of freaked me out. Telling everybody that what I'm showing you right now, this is the Times of Israel. This is old news now. The medication is injected under the skin with a needle, then activated with a device that resembles a toothbrush, which delivers an electrical impulse for a fraction of a second, allowing the DNA to penetrate the body cells and carry out its missions. This is from the Times of Israel. This is old news. It's a U.S. biotech firm called Inovio, and it's sponsored or backed up by the Department of Defense, because the Department of Defense should be involved with everything that's medical. The fact that they're even saying that a vaccine is going to be affected by an electrical impulse, tie that over to your 5G, and then understand why I was telling you 5G is not a problem yet, because nobody's dying. The whole pandemic thing is not accurate. But when it is up and running, if you do not do as they tell you, 5G will let you know what's up, big time. And I have been targeted. Nicholson 1968's been targeted. Erin Elizabeth have been targeted. It's a real thing, and I think it was a test run. So there's that.
And I can assure you, those details won't.
So he said, like, he's been targeted, and he thinks it was a test run. Maybe he thinks that his targeting has stopped or something like that. I mean, maybe it has. I don't know, man. I see some of these targeted individuals with bigger channels, and I worry about them sometimes, like James Munder and Richie from Boston. It's like James, but I'm like, what I see though, I see that if you are kind of in denial about it, they do different stuff. They make it more subtle, you know, and I'm like, is that better or is that worse? Is it better to like just be like, oh no, that's going to go away, and then they're manipulating your mind more, where you don't know how they're manipulating your mind? Is that more dangerous or is that better? Because like I'm totally the opposite, right? I'm like, I'm being targeted, I'm speaking out about it. It takes on this more intense, painful form, but I know that it's happening. I can be cognizant of it and I can change it better. Sometimes I'm just like, is that better? Just to, yeah. Laura says Kyle is transparent as possible. I trust that. Yeah. Sometimes I'm a little bit too transparent for my own liking, because I want to get more organized and I want to say things that can help us get out of this. And sometimes I'm like, I have to just come on here and just speak from the heart, because my targeting is so bad. My brain is just so salad. My brain's salad, you know, and I kind of just and sometimes I say stuff on my live streams that I'll get off of the live stream. I'm like, man, I didn't want to go there, right? I didn't really want to go there, but it is what it is. As Richie from Boston says, it is what it is. Sometimes I want to weigh my words more carefully, because we're coming up on a very important time for us. And I'm like, if I can say things more organized and have a more organized live stream or videos, it can get more non-TIs interested, right? But it just kind of is what it is. I do what I can, you know. Really, Laurian says, I know people it stopped for. Yeah, and Dr. Aaron said it stopped for him. I have to tell you the truth, and I love Dr. Matthew Aaron. I was a little bit suspicious of him. I'm suspicious of like everyone. I'm suspicious of everyone who doesn't have targeting exactly like me. So it's not an insult to him, but like if somebody says that their targeting's ended because mine has been this experimentation that doesn't stop, I'm like, nah, they're lying, you know. And I try and get past that. I try and, you know, get to know the person. And if they're doing really good stuff, it's like, and I can look and see that they're not lying. It's okay. I think there's certain, like if you got a contractor on you under the NSA or the CIA or departments of the DOD, and you got a contractor that's doing experimentation on you, I don't think you're going to get let go unless massive changes happen to the program, right? But I think there are situations where it's like organized crime, or it's revenge. Like if somebody is trying to get revenge on somebody, they may just do it for like a year and then back off because they don't have the resources to keep it going. I do think that those situations do exist. Yeah, that's true. Tansy said, Kyle, I think it's because we do not get to have a big in-depth conversation about what we are going through. So sometimes we go a bit overboard. Yeah, I don't talk to anybody. Like I'm isolated and I'm not always practicing having conversations with people, right? I mean, I talk to targeted individuals on the phone, my parents and stuff like that, but I'm usually isolated and playing video games and just trying to get through my torture. So then when I talk, it's just like it's like a geyser. I'm getting everything out. That's kind of why, I mean, some of you I think like it, but that's kind of why I'm doing the comic book thing. And I'm going to do it on that other channel so I can practice organizing my thoughts and speaking on YouTube, and actually my diction and stuff like that too, because I got my jaw is all messed up. So I need to practice enunciating and things like that, because like I really want to hit this hard. I really want to hit it hard. We're at a time where people are really starting to learn about targeting. They're starting to learn about remote neural manipulation. They're starting to learn about 5G and directed energy weapons affecting people, even people who have not experienced it. So I think that if we strike while the iron's hot, it can quicken things. It can quicken things to get better sooner. We should not take a stance of like, well, the UN's not going to do anything. We'll see, right? We've got to interact with anything that can possibly quicken this, because it can change the path of how things are going in our society. So I'm trying to get, because I got mad. It's really bad. My attackers have gone so far as to do vagus nerve stimulation, hit me in the side of the head with microwaves, and then with remote neural manipulation, they're like causing pain to this area, and sometimes it makes me slur my words. Like they've gone that far to getting me to shut up, which I guess I should be. What's the word for it? I should be grateful for. No, I should be. What's it called? I should be. What's the word? What's the word that I'm looking for? Oh, can you also flattered? I should be flattered because of that. So they obviously do. My attackers really do, like, because I'm putting out the information. It can help people to know about it. I don't think it's going to change the world, right? We're all going to have to do it, but my attackers do see it as a dangerous thing. They're told to stop me by their manager or whoever, and it really frustrates me too, not being able to get things out how I want to get them out, but the remote neural manipulation, and then being in so much pain. People, let's not get into that. Oh yeah, Arachno Nixon says another one when TIs talk about sleeping regularly. Yeah, but see, I sleep regularly because I found methods. I found like the first few years, sleep deprivation, couldn't sleep at all, right? But then I was like, okay, I'm going to do the mantra, and then I'm going to lead hat, and usually, sometimes I'm kept awake, but sometimes I've found methods that I can. That example, it's like when a TI says they can do something that I have a hard time with because of my targeting, I'm like really suspicious. I've never been a paranoid person, but the remote neural manipulation and how this is all set up, because there are like, cyber hackers, cyber agents, gang stalkers. When you're gang stalked all the time by strangers who don't know you, you get really paranoid of what people will do, So it does. This stuff has made me really paranoid. It's not good for us because not everybody is in on it. And I've probably been suspicious of people who weren't doing anything bad. It's a human thing, Hesh74 says, I think they make our brains function at a lower level too. I can't even focus well enough to read a whole article anymore. Definitely not a book. Yeah, I'm like ADD completely. I used to be able to read a whole book in a day, and when I'd read a comic book or a book or watch a movie, it was like pure focus. I didn't understand how much of a gift it was to have like a photographic memory and really enjoy things. Like I'm sitting down to focus on an organized movie or an organized book, and like my brain's been just wrecked, and it's like I have a hard time focusing on anything or enjoying anything. Like even the funnest things for me, like video games, or there's other stuff besides video games, but even that, it's like, this sucks. I can't get into it. My brain, it's not like that super focus that you used to have. It's pretty terrible. Ray I Am says, true Hash, sometimes I really got to concentrate to comprehend simple things, and then some days my mind processes things effortlessly. So they definitely mess with us, yeah. The spirulina has helped a little bit with that, guys. The spirulina has helped a little bit with that. It's made me kind of like, oh, okay, I've got some happy brain juice going on from the spirulina. Yeah, I think about that, Char. you know, but I, you know, I look at Dr. Aaron and the things that he's doing and the way he is, and I think what he said is true. Like you know, for me, and I'll just say it, you know, I'll just say it. At the beginning, I was kind of suspicious. I was just like, you're targeting stop. I think there's a lot of weird situations in this. It's not only targeted individuals being experimented on and it never stops. There are other outside situations where it's not as organized. They maybe are using ground weapons and it's more of a revenge thing. I really do think that. But we're going to have to prove all this. We're going to have to get closer and closer to revealing more of it so that we know for sure, right? But I do, and like I've been suspicious of people saying like, oh, it only happened to me for a year. Somebody was saying in the last chat like, oh, I don't have V2K anymore. And I'm like, somebody send somebody in the chat, right? And no insult to that person because I don't know them. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a natural thing. Somebody's not going through exactly what I'm going through. Are they going through anything? Yeah. But I think you got to really, really watch what somebody's doing. Really watch what they're saying. Are they doing just good stuff? Are they helping? You know. But yeah, dude, I am pretty paranoid. I'm trying to get over it because a lot of it's my remote neural manipulation. It's like they've taken things that I'm really paranoid about, like that I've been naturally paranoid about. They've taken that EEG and they've amplified it on situations where I normally wouldn't have been paranoid. So with the remote neural manipulation, it can put you in a state of paranoia where you're like, that's my gut telling me that that person is not who they say they are. It can be very, very, it can trick you into being like, can almost trick you into thinking that's my discernment. But the spiritual discernment goes more than your instinct. So we got to use spiritual discernment mixed with our instinct, mixed with logic, you know, talking to people, interacting with them, and, you know, learning about them and not just judging them. That's so complicated. There really are people who sneak into our community. I just think as we get along further and further, that's going to go away for us, like the fake TIs and the infiltrators. But you're going to have like this railroad magnate said, you give me enough money and I'll make 50% of the population kill the other 50%. I think in our society as a whole, like human society as a whole, you're going to have more people that join the state. They join the global government to infiltrate, to lie. But I think it's going to change for our group that's being tortured, you know. I think it's going to be more and more people, you know, saying, oh, well, if you can't beat them, join them, that sort of thing. That's like a way that like a lot of us aren't built. I don't care how big this is, David and Goliath. If something's evil, it's evil. And I don't care. I don't care that it's like more expedient or easier or whatever. Not going to join pure evil. Not ever going to do something evil and hurt innocent families, you know. But I think you're going to have a lot more of that. Ooh, I like that prediction. Laura says, I predict it will stop for most this year. It stopped for people I know. It's not how it was 30 years ago. It's not how it was 10 years ago. TIs are starting to win. I don't see how it can't change this year. I also, Ray said, I hope you're correct. I hope so. I still have the nagging doubts. But hope, yeah, Laura said, hope is good. We've got to hope. We got to prepare for the worst, hope for the best. I just don't see how the UN actually having like resolutions and talking about the issue. If they say directed energy weapon torture, if they say microwave torture, if they say remote neural manipulation, dudes, I mean, we can, no matter how the investigation goes, we can use that to make things a whole lot better, you know? My worry, and I'll just be honest, my worry is that they're going to say cyber torture, they're going to talk about internet, like gang stalking, right? But then they're going to stay away from saying like microwave torture, voice to skull. That's a nightmare that I have. But I don't think that's going to happen, you know. I think that's how we should live in these times, Ray. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Because, man, some good things happen. some good things happen if you really churn butter.
Be provided
Yeah.
for the public.
This
You
is the
gotta
times
churn
of
butter.
Israel, man. They don't expect any of us to even be reading any of this.
Exactly.
They tell it like it is. The United States, they're telling you it's all good, man. I will check my email.
And then the whole nanotechnology is a really creepy one. That stuff is just, it's disturbing beyond compare.
Well, Jay, have you seen people like Mike Decker that on their own dime went and got their hair and blood analyzed by an actual lab that would do it, and it's loaded with barium, strontium, and aluminum, and cyanide and other things, and these aren't trace elements that you'll find just blowing around in the wind. If someone's not introducing them into the atmosphere, you have to mine them, and they're a byproduct of other things. So it's not natural. It's definitely there, and it's scary because when you look it up, if you, for instance, and I got this right from patents, if you wanted to make the sky into a laser light show or a movie theater, the best medium would be barium, strontium, and aluminum, coincidentally enough. And if you wanted to turn a walking,
And I think
human-
that's how we light up to like radar, to microwave surveillance, where they're actually using directed energy to surveil us. I think that's how like our bodies light up, because they're full of aluminum, barium, and strontium. And if that's in these vaccines, then you've got a whole 5G network, right? You've got a whole 5G grid plus a weapons grid. People are going to light up. They're going to be lit up with all that stuff. Redundant systems is the key word, because they'll have that, then they'll have the second layer of nanotechnology, then the first layer of nanotechnology, then some people are implanted. And with all those things, it's like they can be sure that if they want to target anybody on the face of the earth, they can do it very, very easily. I think they can do it even now, but with all the different redundant systems and catalysts, it's going to be like, oh, okay, it's more efficient, it's quicker to target anybody on the face of the earth.
or living being into an antenna, again, barium, strontium, and aluminum would be the best thing. And we've all been breathing that for decades. Decades.
Yeah, it's the level of this type of work, because they are like Babylon workings. These are the new Babylon workings. They're very advanced, complex, way beyond my understanding.
It's like
but
alchemy.
I definitely believe that they are
evil. Evil uses alchemy, and like technology is kind of the new magic. It's like scientific magic. But the way that I think about it is, good people, we've got to get with God to have our own kind of alchemy, using science, using the spirit. No evil magic or anything like that, but I'll just call it miracles, like good alchemy. I've really been thinking about it a lot lately. How I always say, like, the darkness rises in the light to meet it. Well, it's like evil's taking new forms. Evil's getting very powerful. Good has to take new forms. Like, we've got to be extra strong. We've got to adapt. We've got to evolve with God's help. And then just in more and more people are going to be ignited. Good people are going to be ignited. They've been asleep, right? It's been a sleeping dragon. But what's going to come? The fight, the battle is going to be met with more people who are waking up. So we just don't know. We don't know how it's going to play out, Okay, Tansy says, guys, once a week, wash your hair with bicarbonate, soda, and vinegar. Yeah, Arachnonix says, having our bodies full of it basically makes us a living antenna for this BS. Yeah, look out for Charlie, calls it like a dirty circuit board. That's why cleansing heavy metals out, and then like spirulina. I got this dock of detox stuff that's like a pineal gland cleanse, the chlorella, the boron, the cleansing baths. There's more stuff. There's more stuff to cleanse, but you can probably get, what's it called? What's that stuff called? I think this other stuff has been working pretty good too. What's it called? Zeolite. The zeolite. I think everybody should get the zeolite too. Zeolite. It bonds. It like bonds to toxins in your body, and it flushes them out of your system. And I'm not sure if it's getting the nanotechnology out, but it might be. It might be.
In the sense that these people are witches and wizards, man.
No doubt.
Profession.
It's no coincidence that every time some corporation gets to be a monster, you know, massive, where they're making billions, they're making an economy's worth of money yearly. Every single solitary one of them decides that their company logo has to be 666 backwards, or a pyramid with the top coming off, or something else, because they all are. Freeman Fly, years ago, another YouTuber and podcaster, he covered all of them. Every single big corporation has some sort of ode to Satan in their logo, one way or the other. That's just not happenstance.
But these things, they're just supposed to be coincidences.
Right. Everything's a coincidence. It's conspiracy.
Sigils.
Conspiracy, right? Yeah. And
Definitely sigils.
as if a conspiracy is something unfounded. And when you think about it, many and most things are conspiratorial, right?
Any two big, me and you we're involved in.
Everything when there is a structured, organized plan to do something is a conspiracy. You know. Let's see. I want to show one more of those. It's great interview. I'm not sure which one of these it is. Is it this one? Yeah, I think it's this one. Okay.
Under your skin, you can cut that out with a pocket knife or a scalpel. It won't be awesome, but you can do it. Biometric is into your bloodstream. Wi-Fi signal hits it, and it starts messing with your DNA. You are unredeemable. There's no unringing that bell. There's no, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But if I'm right, there's no way in the world I'll ever get that vaccine, ever. So,
Absolutely.
it's a trip, man. I heard about, you know, you hear stories about the Archons and the Nephilim and all these other things. I forget who it was. It was either Dr. Michael Heiser or it was Rob Skiba. It was somebody that was quoted saying, as far as we know, because that's all we got, history was horse and carts. Horse and carts. The 1900s show up. All of a sudden, planes, trains, automobiles were dropping bombs on people, nuclear weapons, shooting rockets as far as they go up, claiming that we're on the moon, etc. Dude, that happened like that in a blink of an eye, in half of my lifetime. And now, and just the technology, we went from little video games with dashes moving around to video games where you're completely and utterly immersed.
And
You know
now
what I'm saying?
VR where it's like almost like real life, like real force and stuff like that. Everything is moving exponentially. Technology is moving exponentially. And most people are ignorant to how the technology works, you know.
It's insanity how fast things are moving. It's
Yeah.
exponentially every day.
Every day. And this has to do with the singularity, and it's the same argument they make. The futurists that support singularity, they claim that
Yeah, Brian
This
calls it,
exponential
Brian
growth.
doesn't call it artificial intelligence. Brian too calls it artificial life. And I've kind of battled with that because I don't want to believe, I'm like, oh, AI is pretty sophisticated, but still automated programs, right? But like, you know, my V2K, the chatterbox, it can respond to feelings that I have. Like, I'll have an EEG and it'll sound like this lady is saying something. The chatterbox, I mean, the AI, they have programmed it to be very, very lifelike. But I think like some things that aren't maybe used on targeted individuals, there is like artificial intelligence that can actually program itself, is kind of like data, you know. I think it has gone that far. And they're still going with it, you know. Going to be dealing with the Terminator. We're all John Connor now. John Connors beat the Terminator. Oh yeah, Arachno Nixon says like 60 years from Wright brothers to allegedly landing on the moon. They haven't landed on the moon. I do think there's space though. I do think that they have been out of the ionosphere. I think they've been like right outside of the Earth, but they haven't been past the Van Allen radiation belts, at least with anything that we've known of, right? But they do have, I think that basically extraterrestrials had aircrafts that like basically go from this point to this point with what's it called? Like kind of like taking a string and putting these 2 points together, bypassing space and time. And I think that our military industrial complexes have been to the moon with some of that technology. I actually do believe in space, you know, not a flat earther. I need to get some activated. I'm working on cleansing everything, on just steadily cleansing, doing the cleansing baths and everything.
Going so fast, not only are we going to have trouble keeping up, but we will never be able to stop it. It's inevitable.
And I've been about that for 7 years that I can remember. Talking about Neuralink when it first came out and people stopped. You know, you got Elon Musk, you got all these guys. We're developing artificial intelligence. We don't know exactly what it is. Every time we turn it on, it gets real angry, it gets racist, it attacks people on social media. But it's already laid the groundwork so that we can't actually pull one plug. It's already made its own safety line, so you can't pull the plug, and it's already invented its own language. But we're going to keep working. Like, it's insane. It blows me away that most Americans, most people don't even know this. These guys are like, we're making a technology that's basically going to lord over us. It's going to kill us. It's going to outthink us. But we're not going to stop. Instead, we're going to shoot a thing called neural lace into your jugular vein that's going to wrap around your brain like a spider web, and then you'll be fine. It'll be like having, and they always said this. You're already getting a cell phone, so what's the big deal with getting a neural lace shot into your jugular vein, wrapping around your brain? It's the same. It's insane, dude. It's AI technology, the quantum computers, I've said this for years, and awesomely enough, I was the first one to say it. A quantum computer is nothing more than a Ouija board that's running 24/7 to the other side. Period.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No,
yeah.
You don't have to cut a goat's neck open. You don't have to put salt on the ground, light candles. It's a 24/7 ritual machine, probably running in conjunction with CERN. And then with all the wars that we got going on, there's plenty of human sacrifice. And then not even to mention abortions. There's going to be hell to pay, literally, for all the unborn souls that are snuffed out before they even come out of the mother's womb.
Oh, yeah.
That bothers, dude, I'm not a southern boy, but that bothers me.
That's what this is all building up to, man. And, you know, they presuppose their perspectives on the world. And it's unfortunate when you have this 1% or less than control.
See, I think he's really right about this. So coming up, he's talking about the elite. He's talking about the cabal. He's basically talking about those people leading humanity, and they don't think or feel like us. You know, they see us as cattle. I think we all know it. I think it's very obvious, but I think he really is eloquent about the way he says it.
They do not identify with. And I know the archons and even the reptilian theory, these have, to a degree, they have some accuracy there. And what it is they're not human. And
that's the video I just showed.
But they are of something else. And in my view, in my Christian worldview, I believe they're demonic, right? They have this type of demonic role in the world. And psychologically, if we were to look at secular science, I would say that these individuals are psychopathic. I would say they lack certain capacities of humanity, like empathy or experiencing intimacy, or being able to actually see the other, being able to actually have proper, stable, integrated interpersonal relations with people. I don't believe they have this capacity to the degree of the majority of the population of humanity. So it's unfortunate when we have these types of people running the show, guiding our future, developing our societies and our institutions. And this is where the whole failure approaches, when the man of God, the philosophers, I'd say the more traditional politicians and thinkers of the world renounce or relinquish their role in guiding society and culture and giving that over to scientifically, giving that over to technicians who are specialists. Thomas Sowell talks a lot about the discrepancy of specialists and how they're actually very ignorant to things of the world. They have maybe a specialized, centralized, or isolated type of intellectualism, but they actually lack mundane knowledge. They lack general knowledge of the world and of people, but they have this high specialized knowledge that gives them this puffed up arrogance, and they believe they have, because of this specialized, though isolated knowledge, they feel they can control the masses, when in fact they don't know the masses, they don't understand the masses, they don't understand humanity, and they're actually not living in reality. And these have become our leaders. And I think, of course, not only is it by design, but it's ordained, in fact, because this is bringing judgment, this is bringing the kingdom to come. So of course there's purpose behind this, but it's one thing to know what's coming, and it's another to experience it as it comes. But through that, I think in order for us to really truly understand the nature of
I get so pissed off because he just, like, I know Days of Noah is not like targeted like we are, and I'm like, oh man, can just speak really eloquently about it and just comfortably, and it's just like it's something that's happening to someone else, right? But for me, for you guys, it's like we're living in this hell the New World Order has created. Long before the pandemic, we've been living in this utter satanic hell that they have created on this earth. And I'm like, man, most people, this is my depressed, I'm like, most people who are like comfortable and it hasn't really affected them yet, that's who people listen to about it, you know. I got to kind of get rid of that. I got to get rid of my negative
nature,
remote manipulation,
I think that's something I'm
negative
trying to
thoughts.
get at here. It's the nature of these beings or these individuals is in many senses it's non-human, and unfortunately they are leading humanity at the time, and that's why we will see
trying to you can see it in our attackers. Like our attackers, their masters like hate us and hate them, and so our attackers become like their masters, right? So be careful who you choose to be your master. Let it be God. Let it be Jesus Christ, because you'll become more and more like your masters, like the high frequency chain of creation all the way up to God. We've got to become more and more like that, because if we give in to the masters of this earth, I mean, you become a sack of crap, you know. Caleb says, Angela, me too. They hit me hard one day while trying to get a cleaning done, and I had to quit. Still had to pay, but didn't get much done at the dentist. Tansy says, Kyle, what was the new thing we can take to get rid of the nano bodies? Tansy, it's called zeolite. Zeolite, ZEOLITE, and read up on it. It's $25 for like 60 for like a month's supply of it, and it bonds. It bonds to certain heavy metals in your system and then cleanses it out of your body. I heard about it from a targeted individual a long time ago, and he was like, man, I feel so much better. It was like years ago, and I never tried it. But then I saw that Zeo Force. The Zeo Force is sold out. The manufacturer doesn't manufacture it anymore. But this is pretty much the same thing. And they took that Zeo Force and they poured it on a plate with Morgellons in it. And you saw the Morgellons like swim away from it, like get away from it, because it kills it. It like kills it in your body, bonds to it, and then flushes it out. I think it's really helping. With the chlorella and spirulina, and then I haven't been taking my boron. I need to kind of keep taking my boron, and then I think I'm going to do the bentonite clay too. So I'm going to do the bentonite clay, boron, spirulina, chlorella, and then the zeolite. So much stuff, I think we got to kind of switch around. Like I don't take everything every day. Jared, that's pretty good advice. Jared says, if you stop thinking about your targeting and worry about the spiritual side, and the NWO mark is here, it makes me feel small compared to what's happening. Yeah, get some zeolite. It's not that expensive. Try it. It's really helping. I'm doing some things that it's freeing up my thought. Like it's making me feel a little bit more like myself. Because I have the brain fog, and the remote neural manipulation is really bad. but it kind of eases it up. I'm able to enjoy things a little bit more. My mood's up. It's a battle. It's a constant battle, but it gives me that edge, you know. Samsonite, no worries. The aliens will save us after announcing we have their craft at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I hope so, man. I think they're good aliens, you know. I wish they would come down. I think, you know, I think that, well, what they're talking about, what Richie from Boston and Days Know are talking about, is kind of like how the leaders, the human leaders of this world, being controlled by something else, demonic, something higher in the food chain. I really believe that. I really believe it's not just us on this earth. There's something else that's manipulating our leaders, and it's low frequency. It's low frequency, so it's mixing genetics with them, and it's making them low frequency, and then they want us all like that so they can interact with us. But there's a divine chain of creation that's high frequency. God is high frequency. Jesus Christ is high frequency. And then I think there's good aliens that are high frequency. I don't know why they're not manipulating our society for good. Maybe they're working through us. God is definitely working through us, right? I don't know why the forces for good don't just stop this. Don't just come and bring our society back to a balance. You know, maybe they can't. Maybe this is just the way it's supposed to play out.
We're treated like cattle because they don't see humanity. They actually see units.
And like when I say that stuff, that's total. It's total like just my feelings about it. I don't have any scientific hard fact, but it's just like I don't think that just the human race and then that's it could do this much evil to itself. You know, just some people at the top could not look at other human beings as cattle if there wasn't some kind of manipulation, like something higher on the food chain. But I don't really know. You know, I don't really know.
They themselves are machines.
I just have a feeling.
I feel as if we are being turned into the machines that they want to play with. We're just being played with here, and these individuals are living somewhere else,
roboticized,
in some other realm. And that's why I have this theory about these types where they are a certain way, and we are subject to their authority. So now we are becoming like them. We are becoming more and more robotic, more and more mechanized by way of our devices, by way of our asocial communities. You know, we've lost tradition, we've lost our way in the world, so we've globbed on or we've attached ourselves to their new technological devices, and now we're becoming more and more like them because we are trained
in a slow transition.
The use of these devices to be like them, to think like them, to operate like them. And isn't it interesting that now, by way of this COVID situation, they're going to finally be able to design a society with institutions and industries that think and speak and move and act and behave like they do, yet we are going to be subject to these institutions and industries. Therefore, we become like them. It's crazy, right? It's really, really wild when you kind of think about all of this. But at least this is my theory. This is how I see it. And we're just in the opening stages of it all. And they want to make fake food. They want to make GMO because they want to feed us.
I don't think we're in the opening stages. They want to give us
dry pellets of non-nutrients because they don't taste. They don't know what flavor is. They don't know what life is. They don't know what beauty is. They don't know what aromas are. They just, everything to them is gray and cold and hard to the touch. And we are being slowly formed into this mechanized type of machine as well.
And on that note, when I'm alone, when I'm driving, like I get so many. Oh my God, Richie, I am so jealous of the way you live. It's like, well, I've been doing this long since before I was Richie from Boston. Jailbreak overlander. I did a lot of time. And when I was locked in a cell, thinking I showed them. I told them I would do this, and then I knew I was going to get arrested. I knew I was going to go to jail. I showed them. Well, after doing that a few times, it started to dawn on me. It seems like I might be the one getting screwed here. I'm the one getting stuck in a concrete box with lights on, and I can't do anything unless some dude with a key lets me do it. I thought to myself, if I can ever get out of here, I'm going to hit the road, and I'm going to see the world as much as I can, which for me is basically the United States, and I did. But when I'm on the road, when I'm driving, I'm thinking to myself, why are you doing this? You know, for the most part, when I meet people, they come across to me as fairly unhinged. When you run up to me,
all right, guys, go check that out. It's a great live stream. It's kind of how I'm thinking about things in general in the world. Like, things are going to change, you know. We just got to stick with God and find the miracles that come. But I think for us, things are going to get better. I see that logically and concretely, you know. Like, the intense torture will stop, but we're still going to be a part of humanity that's going through the hell and the roboticization. Oh, really, Tansy? It's been that long? I think I've been targeted since my childhood, since about the age of 12. It really sucks. My targeting is really bad. The only way that I survive are the defenses and my faith, you know, nutrition, staying high frequency, as high frequency as possible, because we're going to be depressed. I mean, that's what being murdered depresses you. Being murdered depresses you, and having people you don't know try and destroy your life, that depresses you too, you know. Yeah, yeah. Tansy says, Arachno Nixon, you're right. Humor does raise our vibration. Yeah. It's hard to be funny about this stuff, though. When you know, like, when you know how big it is, when you know how many people are suffering, when it's hard to put it out of your mind, it's tough. It's tough to be like, hey, guys, what's up today? Haha, what a joke. You see all those buildings burning? You see this vaccine, how it's going to screw up everybody? And we gotta find ways to be funny. I sometimes think that too, Arachno Nixon says, I think we're all born into it and they go over it later in life. I've thought about that too, but I'm not sure, you know. I don't see why not. Why would they wouldn't just pick people from birth, target them their whole life, hook them in. Angela says that this psyllium husk absorbs metals using the bentonite clay, which helps it go to your poop. Sodium bentonite clay has stronger pulling than calcium bentonite clay. Okay, I have some bentonite clay. I need to take it again. For some reason, I'm not taking it. United Snakes of America says, me too, Kyle. Before I learned it was a program, I was able to use my pain, I thought, to help others. Finding out most of my earthly trauma was constructed was devastating. Yeah, it's like your whole life is a lie. It's like one of those movies, but it's your life, where it's like the hero or the character goes through the whole, and then at the end they find out their whole life was manipulated, but it's like real life and it's many, many years, and you're just like, was that time that I broke up with that person? Was that manipulation? All of that thing that was destroyed when I was in college, was that manipulation? I had to get a foot in my colon out. Was that part of the targeting? To question like what was actually happening, it's so devastating. But you know, I think we have to like get through it. You know, kind of have that question, right? Was what was manipulated? Try and get past it and say, from here on out, I know what's happening, and I'm going to take control of what I can take control of, right? Go from here. Start today. And you're going to have days where you're not in control, but take as much as you can take control of today. We can't go through our lives like, and I have to suffer through this just like everybody else, like trauma that you can't let go of. But we've got to find ways to let go of trauma. And I find one way, replace it. Replace it with things you enjoy, like Laura said. Find something that brings you joy every day. Know that there are good people in the world. Like, cling to that hope. Cling to that hope. And you know, we're always going to have some complaining and trauma and everything like that. I mean, we're dying. But to try and wash it out, try and wash out all that bad, all that lost time with new good stuff. And it's possible. It's possible. You know. Easier said than done, you know. Tansy says, Jared, yeah, this vax is very bad news. the more knowledge of health we get now and practice now will hopefully stop the worst of it. Yeah. It's so twisted. United Snakes of America said, I learned the early trauma. Those people run these programs. It's twisted. It's inhuman. It's like people that can do this literally are inhuman. They do not have compassion. They do not have what I would consider a human being, you know. And the further and further they get people away from God, from belief, from connecting to the divine, the worse it's going to get, because people are going to be nihilistic, right? They're going to be like, well, we're just little organisms on this earth. Good and evil, what does that mean? But there's a reason for it. There's a reason that good and evil have been passed down. Like good, the knowledge of good and evil has been passed down since the dawn of man. There's a reason, because it creates an order, a civilized society, a place where the heart can grow, a place where humans can be compassionate to each other. You get rid of that, it's pure chaos. You can't trust anybody. Without trust and love in human beings, I mean, it's really trying to destroy humanity. I mean, I never thought that we'd be fighting something like this in my life, right? I thought that the only place where you saw things where it was like people are trying to take over the world and wipe out humanity, it's a new form of evil. It's something that I think a lot of us probably a couple of years ago were like, nah, that doesn't exist, where they're going to try and wipe out human beings. What that means, though, it means that evil is evolving, that really bad humanity that wants to, is crazed, is disgusting and psychopathic, it wants to destroy humanity. It means that good has to evolve and take new forms too. Like, has to. Will find the way. God, good will take new forms, you know. Angela says, Kyle, think of that little piece of God with and within you, experiencing everything together all the time. Yeah, that connection. We need that connection. We need it for miraculous things to happen when it just doesn't look like logically anything can. And then you move along, you keep going, even if you're not hitting the mark that you want it to, right? This isn't turning out the way I want it to, like my life, right? Y'all's lives. We don't want this. But you keep moving forward, and you can do, even something may come along later that you're like, oh, wow, that's way better than I thought. It's possible. You know, anything is possible. Samsonite says, it's sad to see an XTI who's been reduced to perping and they live out of their car and feed on breadcrumbs. Yeah. Yeah, man, I've always wondered that if they're like, you know, targeted individuals that they bring over to their side or anything. I haven't met any, you know. I don't think I've met any of those. Oh yeah, Tansy says, Kyle, where's Pepper's channel? I haven't made it yet. It's going to be called The Cutest Dog Pepper. The Cutest Dog Pepper. So maybe when people are looking up cute dogs, they'll find my channel. And I've got one video to put on it. I'll probably do either today or tomorrow. I'm going to read Maximum Carnage on my comic book channel. I don't know. I'm getting tired, guys. I'm getting really tired. Like some days I feel okay, like I can do it, but like with the YouTube channel, you kind of got to be like go look at James Munder's channel or Tim Pool's channel, Timcast. If you go to Timcast will make like 4 videos a day, right? And that for people to stay involved with your channel, you got to kind of do it like that. And I'm getting to the point where it's like I can make a video every once in a while. Sometimes I can put out some really good information, but I'm so tired. My plan right now is to like keep going and keep working on stuff until October. Like keep going until the UN announces this and everything, like, and then reevaluate, you know. But the thing that I'm feeling is like I see a lot of other targeted individuals. I see a lot of the topics, other people are discussing them. It is happening, right? It's happening slower than I would have liked, but it really is happening. Like people are taking on this topic. That guy whose channel I showed y'all earlier, and that was my plan, was to like do videos for like 5 years, and then by then, right, targeted individuals would just be talking, would have live streams and channels, and then I could do something else, like keep fighting this or whatever, but I could kind of work on more of the medical stuff. I don't know. I'm just going to go for as long as I can. But the mind control is very bad for me. It makes me not feel like myself, and I don't. It at the beginning, I was like, I don't care about putting myself out there. You know, I'm just tortured. You know, they can screw up my mind. I don't care. But it feels bad sometimes. It's like I don't want people to, because I'm sick. You know, I'm sick, and I don't want to put myself out there in front of people, and I can't. Y'all know how it is. Y'all know how it is. I'm gonna go for as long as I can, though. Tansy says, Kyle, how's the comic book reading going? I did one series that I had on here. I'm gonna try and do the next one. I like it. I like it. It's fun. I'm gonna play some music. I'm gonna play some like dubstep music, and then read Maximum Carnage. I'm gonna put it with some music, and then I think I'm gonna do this comic that was like the first comic book series I ever read. It's called Age of Apocalypse. And it's where basically, like in the past, Professor Xavier is killed. His son goes back in time and messes things up where he's assassinated. And it creates this divergent reality where Apocalypse has taken over the world. And so everything's really bad. Apocalypse is like culling people, and the X-Men are different. They're different than how they are in the regular reality. And I thought it'd be really cool. It's like one of the first comic books I read when I was little. And it reminds me of what we're going through now. I almost feel like I'm like, did we slip into another timeline? Are we in like the Star Trek mirror universe where everything is evil, right? What's in control is evil, and good people are hunted. And literally, I mean, we're already in that time where good people are like hunted down and targeted 24 hours a day. But it's one like that I'm going to kind of read. And we'll see how it goes. You know, I think it'll be fun. Ray I Am says, once you sign on to being a perpetrator, your soul is doomed. There's no coming back from that. The Bible classifies you as workers of iniquity, and there's a special punishment that awaits you. I agree. And also, the thing is, perpetrators and the people that are targeting us, they're committing genocide and suicide. Like, they're not going to get a seat at the table. It's going to be bad. If they're raising children, their children will be raised in a world where their children can be hurt and targeted and all this stuff. It's a really impractical move. It's a very illogical choice. Like, it's a short term, okay, I can stay in the good graces of this evil system where we're picking people in a lottery and we're targeting them and murdering them. But after a time, they're going to be this expendable, you know, and it's going to change. The places where they live will be hell zones. So it's a really, really bad decision. It's not logical. So I think some of these people are like, well, I'm just being practical or something. I'm doing what must be done. It's very illogical to be evil. Like, I'm a very logical person and spiritual person, but I look at it my logical way. It's a logical move to be a good person and to help others. You get more. You give more, you live life the correct way that God intended. But I think that everything's inverted. So people that are evil and they think they're being practical, they're sucked into this system that's saying evil's okay, evil's good, evil is going to get you there, right? And it's this trick that will destroy them, and it will destroy the people, or they'll try to destroy the people that they're trying to destroy. It's a very illogical, stupid decision to be evil. Nihilism, thinking that nothing matters, that this is just a mud ball and we're just little insects on it and we don't really matter, that's a bad, stupid, illogical way of looking at life. It's not right. It's not the right way. What you think about reality is what's going to happen. Like, there's an energy to what you believe and what you think you are. And it tells us a lot about how the reality of the universe is, that it's not just something, it's not just like the universe is just like, oh, well, even if you believe in God and you have great faith, you're still just a little insect on a mud ball and it doesn't make a difference. No. The universe is frequency and energy. And like, our thoughts and our actions and everything determine reality. And we can determine our reality. Of course, we can't stop what has happened, the targeting and stuff like that. You can change that. You can change that, and it can stop coming up, though. What we believe, how we act, you know. Char says, Kyle, don't put Pepper on. Keep her a secret. If she gives us joy, they'll do her what they did to poor Buddy. I can't go through that heartbreak again. My attackers already know about her, Char. they've hit her. She can't hear. Like, she can't hear anything because she used to sleep by me when I was getting hit by low frequency. I'm still getting hit by low frequency, but getting hit really, really bad externally, and she lost her hearing. And I think they do hit her sometimes. I don't think they'll kill her for that. No. She's very lethargic. She's like really lethargic, and my attackers keep putting these things up on the computer. Like, it'll pop up from Google Chrome, and it's like an advertisement. It'll say how to tell if your dog is begging for help or something like that. So my attackers are like manipulating which one of those ads pop up, and so they're trying to make me think that she's sick or she has cancer or something like that. It's sick. She's pretty tough. She's got a hard head like me, you know. No, they're not going to kill her, Jared. It's 4:20 almost. I wish I had some marijuana, actually. I haven't even been taking CBD oil lately. Like, that really helped, but it's too expensive. So I'm taking Kratom, and then all the supplements. Kratom's like kind of my CBD oil right now. And I probably need to, I don't take too much. Like, I took like 4 this morning, 4 during the video. It really helps. And I have to get my psychiatrist left, and I'm gonna have to go see a new person at my psychiatrist's office. So I wanted to tell the person that I had gotten to know over like 6 months, I wanted to tell them about the UN, right? Because they knew me. Now it's a whole new person, and I'm gonna have to feel them out and make sure they're not gonna throw me in a mental institution. Yeah, I can't anyway, Arachno Nixon. I don't have any, you know. Yeah, United Snakes of America says, lose faith in God and the innocent who harm innocent people on lies. It's a win-win for evil. It seems like we are in a time, you know, and Christians say like Satan is in control of the world. I don't know about that, because I think God controls everything. I think God created everything, and he can do what he wants. Like, I mean, there's free will, there's things that are variables and stuff like that. I don't know how everything works, but I just don't think Satan controls everything on the earth. But it does seem to me like things are working in evil's favor big time. And good people, it seems like everything is against them, and we're unlucky, you know, and it seems like that can shift. It seems like right now it's just that time where evil's kind of having its way, and I guess it's biblical. It's biblical, but I think I feel it, guys. I feel it that my whole life is not going to be. I mean, beyond just thinking logically, it's this feeling in my spirit, in my bones, that this targeting is not going to last till I die. And that means it's not going to last till you guys die. I know that's, you know, some of us are going to die. Maybe I'll die, but it just feels like intensely in my bones, in my spirit, that something big is going to change. It already is. Like, my mom knows about the UN thing. She totally believes me. At the beginning, she didn't. I see things shifting. You know, I see that the world's going to get more dangerous, but we're going to have way more people knowing about what we're going through. We're going to have way more people knowing, because I think that the top of the pyramid is planning on keeping everything hidden until a certain point where they don't care if everybody knows, because they don't think people will be able to make a difference. You know, really feel it, Arachno Nixon. It's a spiritual thing that, like, I'm not going to be going through this till I die, at least not in the same intensity level. And it's not something in my brain. It's not it's not like a hope, a grandiose hope or anything like that. Now, I do use grandiose hope for a lot of things, but it seems like a spiritual instinct. And we see what's coming up. We see everything's going to change, not for the better, most of it around the world. Everything's changing, but the UN thing, and then past that, and we've been, like Laura said, every year things change with the targeting. It seems to, I don't know, it just seems to change, you know. United Snakes of America says, praise God, Kyle. So awesome to have your mom know and believe you. Thank God. Yeah. And, you know, after the UN it announces it, then my mom will know for sure, concrete. I'm already getting help from her to have this place. Like I pay her to stay here. But, you know, we might be, some of us can get some lawyers. You know, there might be better ways. This can lead to so many good angles, you know, better ways to get implants out. Oh, the UN announced it, so now we got a whole bunch of doctors who will look into this and maybe help us, right? That's just one thing. That's just one thing. I'm gonna check your channel out, no whining. I'm gonna go do that now. Oh yeah. Char says, Kyle, holy shit, new doctor, FNA, truly the best of luck. Be very careful. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything. They have my files, right? Because I've had other psychiatrists there, so they have my files and what's going on. But you know, I'm gonna go in and I'm just gonna be like, well, let's just get to know each other. And I don't really want to. I'll tell them about the UN thing. I'll tell them that we're doing activism. Usually, if you come upon a person that doesn't know much about this and you're trying to tell them about it, just tell them the positive stuff. Just tell them the UN is announcing it. I do a lot of activism about it. It's hurting a lot of people. Don't go into too much personal detail of exactly what they do to you, because people can handle, oh, the UN's going to announce it. Oh, there's a lot of activism. Something's already being done about it, right? So the person can kind of accept that it's happening because they don't have to do anything about it, right? They don't have to do anything about this impossible situation. Something's being done about it already. So try, and if you're talking to your parents or friends or people who don't really know about it, just talk about the positive stuff. See, I'm doing activism. This stuff's happening to a lot of people. Don't go into the personal thing. That scares people. When you're like, I'm being tortured to death, I'm being mind controlled, they get this helpless, double-minded. I watch it in people. It's like they care, and maybe they would believe, but their fear and their helplessness splits their mind. Like, so they become double-minded. So they may believe you with this side, you know, double-minded's a metaphor. They may believe you with one part of their mind, but the other one's going to take over because it feels helpless and scared of what you're saying you are going through at that moment. Hopefully we can change those things, but I would just stay on the positive side with people that you tell. Okay, no whining. Put her email in there if anybody wants to get in touch with her. Just check out her channel, guys. No whining. I think that's a good idea. I actually thought about that, but I never did it. Reading. I don't know which one you're reading, but I was thinking of reading the what's the one where he had 2 parts to it. I was thinking about reading it on that other channel that I had, but I never got around to it. That's a really good idea. Really good idea. It's the best information. I think, like Dr. Robert Duncan, Barry Trower, Dr. James Giordano, Dr. Hoffer, a lot of his information. There's a lot of other really good information. Brian Coffin has really good information. Brian too has really good information, like the scientific, technical information. Me, of course. Who else, guys? Who else has really good technical information about this? I think Robert Duncan is probably the best, has the best technical information, because he has firsthand. He worked on it. He worked on the chatterbox. He worked on the AI. He knows how their brain and stuff like that. I would say he's the because Dr. James Giordano, Robert Duncan's a little bit more out there, you know. Yeah, and everybody check out SHP's channel. I'm doing a lot of the stuff that she's doing, but I just need to like confirm it, you know. It's like on my what's it called, the ASR number. I mean, Monsanto's on there, weapons contractors. I'm just trying to figure out, like, how do I prove that to people that these are connected to my targeting? You know, I guess we've just got to collect it and then wait for a time in the future, in hopefully the near future, when we can tell people about that. You know, I've got to get my ISP number, and then I'm going to put it in, see what's connected to my ISP number. And then my looking at other people's wireless networks doesn't work. It's like my attackers have gotten into those programs and only I populate on the screen. Even if I turn sharing my location on, it just shows my location, you know. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it today, but I'll be back on soon. You know, you guys just stay strong. Just stay strong. Let's make it till October, you know. Yeah. Tansy says, yeah, no whining is new with doing the live streams, but she's smart and will get all the bumps sorted out. Yeah, dude. You just, it's like the first couple of times you've got to kind of get used to doing everything and having everything up on your computer, but it gets easy. I'm kind of just wanting to go through information now. I know that people like the panels, but No Whining's doing them. Steve and Stacy's doing them. You know, people email me though if you do want to come on. And I feel really horrible. So it's kind of easier just to have something organized information I can go through, you know. All right, guys, I love y'all. Stay strong and be blessed in the name of Jesus Christ. And I'll see you guys on the next one. I love you.